Okay, so welcome back, everybody. We are here for the final segment of the semifinals of the World Youth Teams Championships in Veldhoven. And I'm joined here again by Asaf and Tracey, as well as Ida Gronkvist and Steve Weinstein. So welcome, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Morning.
Morning.
Awesome.
Or where are you in the world, Ida?
I'm back home in Stockholm.
Okay. So what time is it for you?
I'm on the same time as the players, actually. So it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay.
Perfect. Yes, and I was hoping that the Swedish team would prevail today as well, so that we could have maybe watched them as well.
I was hoping for a very exciting last segment of the semifinals between the USA one and Sweden, but
yes,
that was not happening.
Yes, I think all of our hopes across the board were a bit dashed there, but
Yeah. So what does it look like they're going to be doing here? What is the top on the top there? Adam, can you scroll up just so I can see? So they have Norway, Poland.
Yes, so we're gonna jump back into the Netherlands Israel match because that one is close. We were following that earlier today, and we of course have Asaf here to give some color to those teams as well. I thought about trying to last minute grab a Dutch friend or something and have a little, but
For those of you in the audience, I don't know how many of you are, and you guys, they actually have a factory in the Netherlands, manufacture bridge players to beat the rest of the world. And they start with like 1,000, they whittle it down to like 500, and they just spit
and even
out.
export.
Yeah, they spit out like 100 top players every year, and it's amazing. I don't know exactly how they do it. I think Elon Musk might be behind it. I'm not really sure how it happened.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of government support for their federation, and I guess Sweden is also probably on that list of maybe not factory wise, but
I wish that was the case, but especially funding wise, they have a completely different situation in the Netherlands, which is known to be one of the richest bridge federations, due both to the amount of players, but also because they have the Olympic funding, which a lot of other countries are looking for.
They must have a tremendous training program too, because it's amazing to me how many Dutch players, young Dutch players, along with older Dutch players, have just been so great for so long, and they keep coming. It's just they do a great job.
They really do.
Yes.
And here they are again, although they are down against Israel at the moment.
No, actually, this is backwards for some reason.
Yeah.
So they're actually up. These are switched still. So we're waiting for them to, we're waiting to get names and, cards.
Correction.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll be able to jump into some bridge soon, and then we may, as I was saying, we may have appearance by some of the U16s at some point. For those who missed it earlier, the USA 2 under 16 team won their match, so they against USA 1, so they will be playing in the finals tomorrow, and USA 1 will be playing in the bronze medal match. So hopeful to have 2 medals from U16s, and our USA 2 under 21s are doing well against China. In fact, they're doing so well that they are not being shown on Viewgraph.
That is excellent. Before we get into it, it looks like we don't have a table to go. The bronze medal match is something. It's like I think it's really interesting and you guys could answer besides Adam better than I can. I feel like as Americans, we're just not in any way trained for a bronze medal match. Like we just lose. To us, we're like we want to win the gold medal. Obviously, everybody does, but it's not the medal that's so important to us. It's the winning that's so important to us. And in my experience, the USA in particular has done very poorly, and me in particular has done very poorly in bronze medal matches. But I think the USA in general, and I do think other countries like Sweden, for example, and I know Norway, and I think
we are very bad. We're very bad.
Very bad. But I do think medaling
it's the same mentality for us, I think.
Okay, but how about like in Sweden? Like medaling is a something
I
that
would say medaling is a big deal. Of course, it's always like mentally hard to start over for a match. But for me, whenever especially in the World Championships, you always want to leave with a medal. So in general, we would still rank that pretty highly.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think they should do away with, like, if you lose a match, I don't think you should go and play another match. I think it should be over, and they should bronze medal third and fourth. But that just might be an American-centric view, because I hate the losing and then playing for something that isn't what you came to play for.
For me personally, that bronze medal wouldn't have any importance whatsoever. But if I actually play a bronze match and I win it, then it will be a small consolation at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, we once played an online event and we lost the semifinal and we were scheduled to play the nickel team for bronze. And I assured the client that we're going to win it.
So we have a comment in the audience, Steve. Somebody wants to know if you have ever been seen not wearing your hat.
Yes. As a matter of fact, here you go. I just got out of the shower. It's a little messy. I do have hair. It's getting a little bit gray, I have to say, a little disappointing. It's not cut. I can't tell how messy it is. You guys can see me better at the moment. But yes, I when I go out to dinner with my wife in particular, I try not to wear my hat because that seems polite. She doesn't really like it. And if I go to functions, I don't wear my hat. But like, to me, playing cards I feel like I wear my hat when I play cards.
Yes. Well, but between your hat and Asaf's jacket, they're not quite fused to you, but.
And then just before we get started, the other thing that Joe Stokes is working on too, Adam, just so you know, is, well, first off, Kent did bop into the Zoom just as we left. So Kent should be here later, hopefully. Okay. And then the U21 team, he's also going to try to locate the U21 team and have them come in as we're finishing off the broadcast. So wonderful. We're hopefully going to bring you guys that later today. Okay, ready to go. You're welcome.
All right. Well, we're in 3-0 by East, I guess.
Yes. So
take a look at it.
Trying to get an auction up, and my computer is being a little laggy, but there we go. Okay. So East responded to no trip to the takeout double. Tried to discourage things a bit, but couldn't quite get out of landing in 3-0.
So Declare does not have 9 top tricks, and cards are going to be wide open after the opening lead. So let's assume he takes 4 club tricks. A heart trick is 5, the ace king of spades is 7, and the ace of diamonds is 8. Where does that 9th trick come from? You could take a diamond finesse, which is bad, and you could take a spade finesse, which is good. And one possibility is, I don't know the bidding. I'm assuming you run 4 clubs. Do we have the bidding anywhere?
Yeah, it was south open to heart.
Oh, okay, south open to heart. Oh, so that's kind of make you think the king of diamonds might be on side, which might be bad.
It depends on how much of a count Declare will be able to get on the hand, but he might try something like, he's a little short on entries to his hand, so probably will win this in hand and try a club to the jack. But on the run of the clubs, he might also then try cashing the ace king of spades, trying to drop the queen of spades.
And fall down the diamond finesse,
which will lose.
Bit of a problem. But on the 4 rounds of clubs, South has to make 2 pitches. So it's interesting if they pitch a heart, Declare could, let's say they pitch 1 heart and 1 spade. That's probably best for them.
Well, if they pitch a spade, though, then Declare is going to be a lot more suspect. They might not now play for the queen of spades to drop, because
they can't pitch a diamond. They can't pitch a diamond because then he's going to show out on the diamond of the ace. Mm-hmm. So I think South's only shot to beat it is to pitch a spade and a heart, and then East could exit a heart and then try to work it out later. I'm not sure what. I think best is to win in your hand and start with a club finesse, because you
can't really get to your hand and play a heart. It's a bit of a problem.
Oh, that's a good point too. Well, you have the 9 of clubs.
You will be in there.
Yeah,
you have the 9 of clubs. So we know we have 8 top tricks. do we know from the bidding? Let's look again at the bidding whether we know hearts is 6-3. We don't. But I guess I'm assuming the 9 hearts is.
I mean, the lead is going to give it away.
There's also, even though they're red white, so maybe with 4-card support you might actually have bid something with North Sand.
Right. So you have a pretty good
if you have an honor in your hand, that is.
Right. So you have a pretty indication hearts are 6-3. So it looks like the best start is to win and take the club finesse and certainly play the ace king of clubs. And let's check out the first pitch. And the first pitch is going to be, I believe, a heart. Mm-hmm. And then the second pitch is going to start getting a little painful. So let's say South does pitch a spade. Now you have the luxury of getting out a heart and letting them catch the hearts and trying to read the end position, which is, I think, is a reasonable way for this hand to progress. What do you guys think?
And South probably has to probably catch all the hearts.
Yeah. I mean, I that feels probably best to me, rather than committing to a pointy suit right away. Once you see South pitch 2 hearts, you know it's safe to.
Well, I don't think South will pitch 2 hearts. I think South's going to pitch.
Can't do it.
Right. Yeah. South pitches 1 heart and a spade. Then even still,
that's the toughest.
Pretty sure, South didn't bid 2 hearts, so you're pretty sure they don't have 7 of them. So,
right. You still don't know whether the Queen of Spades is offside and the King of Diamonds is onside. So it looks like if South's next pitch is a heart, it's going exactly the way we thought it was going to go.
It's also possible that North will be a little bit too helpful with this pitch now on the clubs.
Yes.
To also swing the Clare in the right way.
Yeah, which is a great point you bring up, Vita, is like North wants to help their partner, but they don't want to help Declare. And this gets to a very difficult situation when you're defending a hand at a high level. How much information are you willing to give your partner, knowing Declare is seeing it too? And when to lie and when not to lie is very important. I personally think this is a very safe time for North to lie, because South has to assume that Declare doesn't have the King of Diamonds.
Yes. So
they do. They have 4 clubs.
It's worth noting that dummy is, and this is a point that came up from Scissors in chat. Dummy gets a little squeezed on having to make 4 heart pitches. Right? You can pitch 2 diamonds and a spade safely, but that 4th heart is going to kind of force you to commit to something.
Yeah, that is a good point.
Which probably means that getting out a heart is not ideal, and perhaps you'd be better off winning this club, cashing the ace king of spades, trying to drop the queen, and falling back on the diamond finesse.
So very, very good point. Squeezing the dummy is no fun.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Squeezing the Dummy also, by the way, is the old name of Justin Law's old blog.
Oh, really?
Before he bought justinlaw.com. It used to be Squeezing the Dummy.
I think we all miss Justin Law.
Seaburn is committing to that line.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So he's taking his, what seems to be his sort of best chance of trying to drop the Queen of Spades, and when that doesn't happen, will fall back on a diamond finesse and be a little disappointed to find out that the Queen of Spades was onside and the King of Diamonds was not.
And North pitched, assuming they play upside down, I don't know, they
play odd encouraging,
a non-committal diamond. So Declare did go for that line.
So North pitched a discouraging diamond.
Yeah.
They play odd even.
Odd encouraging.
Yeah. Oh, so North did great.
Mm-hmm.
And we think East would have gone down anyway, but North carded great for their side and bad for Declare's side. So it looks like the East played it perfectly, and it was defended perfectly, and it's going to go down
1. Down 2 even, because now South's hand is high.
Oh, you're right.
So
it's not a great hand for Flannery, I suppose.
No, it is not. It kind of gives away the show.
Yeah, it would not be a good hand for Flannery. Yes. Although they may not get the game, though. We'll see. So it gets a little tricky to get the game opposite.
Yes.
And then all hands are great for Flannery. I'll find a way to justify it. It's just that.
It doesn't seem to be the thing that the kids are sporting these days.
Yeah, I know. I was really happy when one of the under 16 players, it's Aaron's daughter, Aaron Silverstein's daughter,
Yeah, Avery.
Avery. She emailed me and asked for our Flannery methods, and one time Olivia also did too. So I'm trying for a renaissance in American Bridge, but I don't think I'm making it yet.
Yes. Well, you have
All
a
right.
shot to maybe find some Flannery disciples.
Yeah. If I worked at it, I could do it.
Yes. Yes. For the uninitiated, Steve and Bobby do play Flannery and are one of the, I would say, few top, certainly few top U.S. pairs and top international pairs that do still play Flannery. And Steve will defend Flannery like his life depends upon it.
And for people that might not know what the Flannery convention is, because it's not as mainstream, Steve, do you want to explain what it is and why you like it so much? In quick layman's terms for the audience.
Sure, but let's look at this hand first, and then we'll get back to that. Can we do that?
Yeah. Yes, that's a good idea because this is an interesting decision for North here, and then we'll jump back to
Right.
the Flannery discussion.
So a lot of people play. I don't know whether they play an unbalanced diamond or not, but it's certainly
They play precision.
they play precision, which is okay. So in precision, interestingly, when it goes a diamond, a heart, you always bid a spade with four because you've shown no natural suits, and the precision players tell me you have to show at least a suit. In standard, when you open a minor and it goes a heart, you don't bid a spade with four unless you're unbalanced, typically. So you sometimes miss a 4-4 fit. So at the moment, as far as we know, up to the one no bid, all North has shown was four spades. Now I'm assuming two no's conventional that they play Flannery, so this probably shows a good hand with six diamonds. Is my guess. But I am guessing. So in standard, this would be a very different auction where we go diamond, a heart, a spade, unbalanced, and South would still bid one no, and then North, I think, would bid out to two diamonds, and the bidding would end there.
Right, right. And by
Does
the way,
look like it looks conventional at least.
What's that?
It looks conventional from the three club bid.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So it looks like Israel picked up 11 imps on the first board. So they're certainly going to make it an interesting match because now it's down to 8 imps. They played in four spades in the 4-3 in the other room.
Oh wow!
And when spades are trump, you have a little you're thinking a little bit less about safety playing for 9 tricks and a little bit more about drawing trumps. So they were forced into taking the spade finesse and wound up making 4 spades. So that's an excellent result for them.
Yeah, I'm looking at the bidding now in the other room. It looks like East, after West doubled twice, chose to bid their 3-card spade suit over 3-0, which is not clear at all. And West just felt they had too good of a hand, and they raised, and they ended up in 4 spades, which isn't a great contract either, but it did make.
Yes. So just threw that up on stream, and then we'll jump back here. So here, I assume this was some sort of invitational-ish auction with 6 diamonds. And 3 diamonds doesn't look like it'll fare all that hot, especially if the defense can get trumps going. But, there's a lot of work for Declare to do here, right? They have spades to ruff. They have, trumps are not splitting well for them.
Yeah, I feel like Declare is definitely an underdog here.
Right.
All right, should we get back
They
to
only have 4 obvious losers, right? The ace of clubs, a spade, and 2 diamonds. But the process, the diamond spots are such that East 6 of diamonds might wind up growing up if Declare roughs some of their spades, or if they try to pitch them, then East will be able to rough with a little diamond, and still take 3 diamond tricks.
Yep.
So as Declare
Right.
here, what's your thought? I mean, obviously you're kind of bummed to see a heart lead because that takes away any entries to the clubs. What's your thought process?
it would seem very natural for me to get spades going now anyway. Trying to get a spade rough in there if possible. Hopefully it's East who gets in on the first spade trick and might not be able to lead away from trumps. I also need to get the ace of clubs out of the way and use my spade rough as an entry to dummy.
Right. I mean, ideally, you'd want to get spades going and get the ace of clubs out of the way. But unfortunately, if we try to get the ace of clubs out of the way, then we may not get a spade ruff. So, but it also, like, if
One
clubs were
possibility is just hope for the ace of clubs to be an east and start with the clubs, so that east will not be able to return a trump.
Yeah, so I don't like playing the 10 of spades for the exact reason that Ida mentioned, that you really don't want West to cover. You actually want West to play a low spade so that you can try to get East on lead. And the way to do that is to lead the 2 of spades off the dummy, and try to force West to have to find a spade split or a high spade play.
Here you had a pretty easy time.
Yeah, because South is right. The dummy's he's looking at a7-5-4 and dummy. But I agree. I would lead the 2, but I think it'd be easy for West to play the 9 of spades.
Right. Certainly with this spade holding, that's true.
Right.
And hopefully, I just moved my mic a little closer, so hopefully that'll pick up a little better here. So now, this diamond return, declarer really has no choice but to finesse, I think.
Yeah, and if the defense ducks the ace of clubs one round, which I think they will, it looks like declare is heading for down 2.
Right. Well, I mean, you could make a case perhaps for winning the ace of diamonds and taking your spade ruff, and hoping that maybe there's king doubleton of diamonds or something, right? Where now you lose 1 spade, 1 diamond, or even, I mean, actually, maybe you're.
But the 9 doesn't look great at all.
Right. The 9 doesn't look great, but maybe you are supposed to win the ace of diamonds, take your spade ruff, and give up a club, and now you lose a spade, a club, and hopefully only 2 diamonds, and only when diamonds are 4-1 are you going down, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not clear. So while they're thinking about this, we can return briefly to the Flannery question. Steve, do you want to?
Yeah.
Hey,
so
pitch Flannery to us.
What was your question again, Tracey? I'm sorry.
Oh, just, there might be people in the studio audience that do not play Flannery or know what Flannery is. And that's one of the things that we tend to do is we all know these things, but I was just having you maybe explain what you play and why you play it, just
sure.
in case there's somebody that's listening or watching.
So Flannery is typically a 2-diamond opener. Some people play it's 2 hearts. I like it better as 2 diamonds. And it shows a minimum game forcing hand, roughly, or not game forcing, game opening bid, like 11 to 15 or 11 to 16, and it's typically 4 spades and 5 hearts. And the actual opening bid of Flannery itself isn't so great, although I like it if you soup it up and you do some bells and whistles. But the advantage of knowing that your partner doesn't have 4 spades when they open a heart is great in many auctions. And when it goes a heart and no trump, you don't bid a 4-card spade suit. So you're now, if the partner of the 5 hearts and 4 spade hand becomes declarer, it's very difficult on defense when you're defending no trump in particular on whether the declarer has a 4-card spade suit. And it also makes the auction like a heart of spade. You can jump to 3 spades with 3 because your partner has 5, and that's a very difficult hand in standard with like a 3-5-4-1-16 count or something like that, where you're going to bid 2 of a minor, and you might be called for 4 spades and you're going to end up in 2 of a minor. I actually wrote, I don't know if you can put it in the chat, Tracey, I wrote an article like, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago on bridge winners. It was I Love Flannery, and it outlined, it's a pretty short article. I could give you the link in the Zoom. Does that help?
I'll find it. There we go. I Love Flannery, parentheses, I'm Serious, by Steve Weinstein.
Yeah, I was in a really bad mood. I was actually in Palo Alto. I was at teaching Gayska Joel, who was a student of mine, great student. And there was a lot of slamming of Flannery going on by the Roland Wald and the old school and stuff like that. And it was the middle of the night, and I just was like in a bad mood about it. So I'm like, I love Flannery and I'm serious. And then just
Yes,
pounded it out.
I just put it in the chat, so anybody who's interested can have a look, and maybe Steve will have a few new Flannery disciples. So we see in the other room they stopped in only 2 diamonds and wound up making 3. So that will be 5 imps back to the Netherlands.
Which makes sense in the standard auction. I mean, I think West had an interesting problem of whether to balance against 2 diamonds and double. It's hard when they bid 3 suits, but you still rate to have a fit, and you really hate selling out to a part score. So it is conceivable that West could have come back with a double of 2 diamonds, and they could have scrambled into hearts, which is very playable for East West.
Mm-hmm. So how do you feel about this precision diamond opening in third? I feel like there's sort of it's a mixed bag here with scattered values and a 9 count, and not really any lead directing value when when it is a precision diamond.
I would like it better in standard, actually, where it does have lead values, but the precision players, they open so light that there's such a good chance that when their partner doesn't open, their opponent's up a game. I think that it's a semi-free psych for them, which I don't think anything can be done about it. And or not to my knowledge anyway, but I don't love the fact that it doesn't have any lead implications. Now maybe it does, because maybe they're more inclined to open a 4-card major or 2 clubs on 5 in third seat, so it might give it some lead implications, and in that case I like it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. And so
what do you guys think?
I think it's connotated with the minors, where you open 1 diamond very light.
It's also possible that you have a third seat agreement that 1 diamond can be open light specifically with natural.
With the minors.
Yeah.
That's what they play, in fact, I think. It could be with the minors.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
So if you notice, East bid 2 hearts, which actually Bobby and I play as a Q bid, and I see they do also. So we do 1 under Q bids unless you need the suit to be natural. So for us, for example, when partner overcalls a spade, 2 clubs would be natural. 2 diamonds would be a transfer to hearts, and 2 hearts would be the Q bid, and it looks like the Dutch pair does the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the method normally referred to as Rubensol.
Okay.
If you've seen it.
I know a lot of people do it when there's a negative double. I didn't know. I wasn't sure how popular it was without the negative double.
I wouldn't know either, but I know the Dutch and the Swedes are all very fond of our transfers, and we take every opportunity to put them in.
Yeah, you guys you absolutely lead the way on those, and
after overcalling, like you said, we it's a very normal treatment to start transferring from the opening suit. So here, for showing hearts, you would bid 2 diamonds, and then for showing the Q bid for partners, the good raise for partner would be bidding 2 under your major. I'm just guessing now that this is what
I think
Dutch are actually playing, but
it's pretty interesting because West bid 2-0, which I assume was some kind of artificial game try forcing, and East bid 3-0, which I have to think was playable, with ace, king, queen of trumps and nothing else on the side, which is great trumps. So he knows his partner is looking at not great trumps. And West, I think, went back to 4 spades because they have such a good hand. They just don't think they're going down in 4 spades, and they have to worry about scrambling for 9 tricks.
Mm-hmm.
Would be my guess.
Yeah. Well, the diamond rough gets them up to 10 here, and in 3-0 they all of course they have 9 tricks with 5 spades and 2 ace kings, but there's a risk of if clubs were 5-2, for example, the weakness there could potentially be dangerous.
I'm a little surprised East chose 3-0 with having a doubleton and having such great spades. It seems I could see more if it was 4-3-3, but I personally, without knowing what 2-0 meant, would have a hard time choosing 3-0 with that hand.
Yeah, I would just be a little worried about the fact that I'm so wide open in all 3 of the other suits, and the doubleton diamond, especially. Right. I mean, especially if this diamond had any lead directing implication, right? Kind of.
Right.
Seems to suggest playing in 4 major. But
I do think West made a good choice. His hand does, on second inspection, looks suitable for 4 spades.
Yes. Yeah.
Although, I guess it depends. If Chuno was natural, then, it would be a little surprising that he would have offered up no trump and then, removed the offer. But
are you able to see what the explanation is, Juno? I guess not.
No. We can see that it was alerted, but we can't actually see, most of the time what the alert is.
Okay.
So.
All right, here we have Larry Cohen's favorite contract at 1-0 Trump. He loves, actually, he just lives to analyze 1-0 Trump contracts. I don't know if you know that about Larry. I'm joking. For the US that don't know.
we had actually Larry joined a few days back, and I believe that was the set that we started with a redoubled contract, a slam contract, and high level decision in the first.
Oh, he must have been in his glory. Was there a law of total tricks high level decision that came up?
I don't think it was quite a law of total tricks decision, but he certainly appreciated that.
It wasn't his perfect world, but it was pretty good.
Pretty good.
He ran pretty well.
Yes.
So I do think that 1-0 is worth looking at, and it can definitely be educational, but it is certainly very hard to commentate on.
Yeah, I mean, there are certain spots that are quite interesting. I mean, here, on this auction, where 1-0 all pass, right? As South, you don't love leading away from your king into the no trump opener, but it's not like you really have any better idea of something to do. So you kind of shrug and lead fourth best from your longest and strongest and try to figure it out later. Right?
Yeah, I think I would choose a club from 3 little, which is probably a little bit more European and almost becoming more mainstream than now. That setting, going after king empty fourth suit when we really don't know where we're going to go, and it's, we're assuming it's a battle for 7 tricks. I think I would just start with a really passive lead.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's between a heart and a club. Of course, we have so many high card points that there's. I mean, it makes sense to try and set up your own suit, but like Steve said, it's just king empty fourth. So you need a lot of help from partner for hearts to hit the jackpot here.
And you rate to have time. You rate to have time to get back there too.
Exactly. So I would probably also just settle for a club, just because I don't trust myself to know better this early in the hand.
Right.
My guess is double dummy loves leading a heart, not a club.
Yeah, double dummy typically double dummy usually likes to lead an ace and assumes that you and your partner are going to defend better than Fantoni and Nunez for the rest of the hand.
Right. Well, so here it's interesting. North did not play the Jack of Hearts on the 9. Partner could have led from Ace King fourth, right? And
yeah, it's certainly possible, but I think North went with the odds of thinking that wasn't the case, and if playing the Jack of Hearts, I mean, it's a difficult decision what they did.
Right, because I mean they're giving up a heart trick.
They won the 9 of hearts and they played a diamond to the king, which looks reasonable, but I'm not so sure it'll be successful. So
the problem is now that North has an entry to get spades going through declare.
Yeah.
They're kind of, except that the with spades being 5-3 today, at least declare, if they read the position, can duck twice.
Yeah, but they can take 3 spades, a heart, and 3 diamonds now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think declare did anything unreasonable here at all, but it might not work.
So as South here, right? Your partner played the 4 of hearts at trick 1. What are you returning here, right? Like, are you gonna, do you trust that this is count from partner, and return another heart, or? Yeah,
I mean, if declare played the 8 of hearts at trick 1, would declare do that from ace 8-3? It's maybe a good play, but not a natural play.
Right. So well, and partner might have played the jack from Jack doubled.
Right. So I think that as a defender, you have certainly some indication that declare has their exact heart. I mean, partner could have the ace of hearts also, for sure.
Yeah.
It could have ace jack 8 too.
Right.
Yeah. In which case, I guess heart is probably the best play anyway.
Well, if Declarer has ace jack 8, right, partner probably would not have played the 4 if we're playing upside down.
Right. I assume they play upside down.
Partner
They do.
8-4.
Yeah.
That would have been before, yeah. So but now, I mean, partner should be quite marked with 3, I think.
I think so too. So it looks
There's a
indicating.
question in the comments asking what would the opening lead preference be in match points for you guys?
In match points, I would definitely lead the club. It just, I feel like I don't have enough information to commit to this heart suit, and a club is what I think most people would lead, and I also think it's the best lead, and I'm always happy to start out with, if it's close, what I think is the more normal lead. And I think 10, 20 years ago, the normal lead would be 4th best from your longest and strongest. But at this point, in a strong match point event, I would expect a high percentage of the players to lead a club. And if you feel like you're a good defender, a better than defender average in the field, you'd love to get off to the same start as other people in a normal contract.
Mm-hmm. And so here we see, just to our conversation a little earlier as well, South did not return a heart. So now they still, North-South still have not built that heart trick. So they're going to need to be careful if Declare figures out to duck twice on the spade to be able to build their heart trick in time to have 7 tricks as defenders.
Right, they're going to have to get back to hearts after the 3rd spade. So South just hedged a little bit by getting out with a diamond, which didn't make the hand. It didn't confirm what was going to happen. It certainly keeps the hand beatable, but the hand's not over. I mean,
I think he came back a club, no?
Yeah, he came back.
He came back a club.
Okay. Yeah, and Declarers continue diamonds.
Yes, and so now the question is, where is the ace of spades, right?
Right.
I certainly, it feels right to play, even if you were to duck the first spade. I feel like you're going to have to play for the ace of spades on side at this point, and today, of course, that will not be successful. But
yeah, it's interesting. I mean, when North returned the jack of spades, so they might return the jack of spades with just like jack 4th because it's the right bridge play. But I'm guessing that the Dutch play second highest from honors or second highest period. So if you were to guess North had the queen jack of spades, which you can't take that as an inference 100%, then I think there is an inference that South doesn't have the ace of spades, because I do think from 3 little or 4 little spades, they would absolutely choose a spade lead over a heart from king 4th or king jack 4th, whatever the case may be. But the problem is that looking at jack 9 for the spades and no other entries, the right bridge play is the jack of spades in case partner has ace queen 4th, for example, so that you can't take the total inference that North has the 1 higher honor.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, and they could also, North could also have ace jack, right? Because it's also the bridge play to be surrounding the 10 doubleton and the dummy.
Yes.
So there's not.
But if South was choosing to lead from queen 4th or king 4th of the majors, maybe you would choose the spades still.
Yes, that is very true.
All inference, but.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So that'll be. We did have a little bit of fun analyzing one, no?
Yeah, we did.
And so 6 tricks, 1 down.
So I'm sorry, Larry. I'm sorry for 1-0 is great. You are right all along, and I was wrong.
This is
I was
recorded,
actually
right?
My wife and I were roommates with Larry Cohn when I graduated college in New Jersey, and when we both worked in New York. So we lived together and spent many years together. One of my closest friends, and
I actually did not know that. That's very cool.
Yeah.
So, can you give us a few fun Larry facts? Put you on the spot.
Larry's a really exciting guy. He goes out partying every single night. Comes home. He was coming home at 4 a.m. and stuff. I mean, he had girlfriends everywhere, and there was it was unbelievable. Or he was the exact opposite of that. One of the two.
Yes.
No, Larry's got a great guy, great sense of humor, and but very he wants to watch his Yankees. He wants to watch his Jets. He's got his sports things. He tapes them. If you spoil him, he'll kill you. And he's not a particularly social person. Now that he's married to Maria, who is more social, he's become a more social person. But he's an introvert that is obviously a great bridge player and a great person. Yes. And Berkowitz brings out some more personality in him, because being around Berkowitz, how can you not bring out more personality?
being around any Berkowitzes tends to be good for that, I would say.
Let's just say there's one kind of person who likes declaring war on Trump and one kind of person who likes redouble contracts on the 5 level.
Yes.
Exactly. So North opened a precision spade, and South, I guess, made a preemptive to mix 3 spades. I don't know what they play, but typically if you play mixed raise when you're at favorable, you can stretch, and it becomes preemptive to mix. So even the people that play mixed raises, I'm pretty sure shade when they're at favorable, because it's an obstructive bid and it doesn't cost you so much if you go to game down. So even though a mixed raise, which is a great bid offensively and defensively, having the preemptive element at favorable is worth having a wider range.
Mm-hmm. Well, and here, this heart lead is a little annoying for declarer, because they'd like to be able to cash the ace of spades and lead a spade up to the jack. But this strips out the entry from dummy at trick 1, preventing them from doing that. So, now they're at risk of losing 2 spades.
And having 2 clubs. Right, having a doubleton club opposite a doubleton means they have no entry there.
Mm-hmm.
It might be that it's more useful to use the entry now for something else.
Right. They might use this for diamond finesse even. Although
I think they probably will, and I don't think that declarer could even make it if they were looking at the cards. Actually, they have a club loser, a diamond loser, and 2 spade losers if the defense doesn't give them anything.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now,
on another lead, they would be able to,
on a different lead, they'd be able to knock down the ace of spades, collect the queen, and go over to dummy with the ace of hearts, and then lead a spade up, and then hope to lose only 1 diamond with them being 2-2, or the singleton, king, or jack dropping. So they would have the option of that line of play. But this lead, which is also perfectly normal, I mean, whether you would lead the queen or a low one, some people would lead low, some people would lead the queen. It takes that entry and that option out from declare. And I think Ida's right. I think that declare is going to win the ace of hearts, and best shot is to take the diamond finesse, which is not going to be successful.
Mm-hmm. And I guess Chad is pointing out that USA 2 on this board played apparently in 4 spades redoubled, and that made 11 tricks for 1080. So they played 4 spades redoubled on the king of diamond lead.
I was going to say, it sounds like the king of diamonds lead.
Yeah. Yes, and the following board, mind you, they also played 1 no trump. I'll spoil the following board a little bit. They played 1 no trump redoubled and made that for 7-6.
Is that a close match? So, what's going on in
it is not. And
this is the under 16.
No, this is the under 21s. It is. USA 2 started up 51 and have added 7 additional imps thus far, with only 1 of their redoubled scores to come in. So
sounds a bit like a team that's trying to catch up in the last quarter.
Yes.
Yes. Basically, just doubling every game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which against
so it was redoubling.
Right. Against certain USA players, there might be something to that, but
yeah.
They are solid citizens. So
I would say juniors averages like 100x more redouble contracts than juniors.
This is true, but it's also it's a very difficult strategy to learn how to. I know that in the US you play a lot of long knockout matches, and also the juniors start pretty early, also with the trials. For a lot of countries here in Europe, at least, we don't play a lot of long knockouts. And for the juniors to know the strategy, how to swing and when to swing and such things when you go in being down quite a lot for the last segment is maybe not so easy.
No, it's not easy. And there's a couple schools of thought. I mean, in general, like on the nickel team, which is, obviously we're the favorite in most matches we play. And when we're down a certain number, typically our goal is to just avoid letting the opponent score. But you get to a point where you have to try to do some unusual things. And I personally made a couple swingy things on even the nickel team or the Fleischer team, like teams that were like favorites in the event. But in general, the best strategy, if you're down, like let's say 50 or so, is to just shut the opponents out and outplay them. Mm-hmm. So it looks like Declare is taking the recommended line. And there was no successful option.
Right. Well, the defense has to be a little bit careful to get clubs going, though, because I guess they'll get one more chance.
Right?
They have two shots. Yeah,
they have enough.
Yeah, and so they can today even afford to play a heart, find out that Declare is roughing that, because Declare is not, even though their diamonds are good, West will be able to rough in and cash a club before that happens.
Right. So from the 8 of diamonds, East can't tell whether Declare has 5 diamonds or 4, I assume.
Right, but they don't necessarily need to. They I suppose, can safely return a heart. Partner encouraged a trick one. And
it's always interesting as East here, because Declare took a particularly long time at trick 1. And you're trying to work out what was Declare thinking. Now, to our eyes, it looked pretty clear to take the diamond finesse, but we're not in the finals or the semifinals and sitting at the table. But that is something you're thinking about and trying to put together what North's hand is for the unusual length of the hesitation. But East did work out that it's safe to get out with a heart, and I don't see what Declare is going to do but hope for 2-2 spades.
Mm-hmm. And so West needs to be careful to win this and not cash their last trump, right? Which is sometimes, a little bit counterintuitive.
But when God deals you the Queen Jack 10 of clubs, he's talking to you.
Yes, exactly.
And notice again that now it's the Israeli pair is shifting.
You're shifted. East, west, or Dutch, north, south.
The Dutch pair. Now they're shifting to the second highest.
Everybody is shifting to the
Dutch.
Stuff, so. Yes.
The Dutch. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So yes, this will.
You guys can just think of me as the ugly American, and we'll move on.
Yeah, so
you have the hat for it.
Down.
What's that?
You have the hat for it.
Exactly. So one down so good opening lead by East, somewhat normal, and a very reasonable 4 spades. And I agree with South's aggressive mix / preemptive raise.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
They didn't think they could make a game so much, but they were hoping something good would happen.
Yeah. Today their side had a few too many aces for the opponents to make a game. But it's actually not, switch one of the aces and kings and, switch the ace and king of spades, for example. The opponents actually are making 4 hearts.
Right.
So I can see we had a par score swing for Israel on the hand before. Did they make one a trump or what happened?
Yes, they made 2 over tricks and 1 no trip, in fact. So you can go. It looks like they got off to a club lead, and we'll pull that up real quick. So so they got off to the 7 of club lead as we were discussing, and that went to. And then they played a diamond to the 8 and 10, another club, and because they hadn't given North an entry, now South just cashed their diamonds, and they again sort of kept them off of lead, and South fell from grace and finally played a spade. I think had South not played a spade there, they would have still been able to beat this because Declare. Oh no, sorry, I take that back.
I don't think so.
Declare had the 9 of diamonds to get to the good hearts, so they took their only shot of shifting to a spade, and that was sufficient. So let's get rid of this view here.
I think actually North had to cover the club. the club lead didn't work out great, but it would have been a lot better if North started out by covering the club at trick one, because they conveniently left him declare in dummy at trick one to be able to lead a diamond and not put up the king, leaving them an extra entry.
Yes. Chad is
might try out the heart suit, setting up heart tricks instead of just playing another club to dummy and then doing what he did in diamonds now.
Right. That's true.
So here we see West taking the hint, right? When it goes a spade, double, pass, or no trump, and you have this sort of scattered 17. You know that there's some hearts behind you. South has some spades. Your partner probably doesn't have very much, so especially with the opponent's vulnerable, you're content to defend one no trump as opposed to potentially bidding something and getting your side into trouble.
Yes, what West was wise. I find North's vulnerable double very aggressive, and it may be correct, but it's certainly very aggressive. And I found South's one no bid opposite the vulnerable double very conservative, which was also correct on this hand.
North has a bit of a reputation.
Oh, for being aggressive. So South is taking into account North's aggressiveness in their one, because this is a pretty strong South hand opposite a vulnerable takeout double.
Yeah.
Agreed. So how long have Oren and Amir played together? Do you know, Asaf?
They've played together for 5 years. A bit more, 6 years.
Which in the juniors is like 2 decades.
Yeah.
Yes. Sybren and Stefan, the East-West pair here, also have played together, I think, at least 3 or 4 years. So these are somewhat established partnerships, and certainly players that have experience playing at open levels in addition to juniors. So, and here we have, of course,
hitting the ace against air doesn't feel so great, and South reasonably ducked it to East 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably more likely that they've led from a single honor rather than ace king. Although
there's enough points for West has a particularly good hand, so there's enough points for East to have more points.
Yeah, I mean, if West didn't think a while and over a no trump, for example, you might not even have an inclination that they have 17 versus, let's say, East having another king, right? So, now declare playing a diamond to the ace, kind of trying to build diamond tricks and playing West for the king of diamonds. And they still have transportation in clubs, so it looks like they're going to come to 3 diamonds, 2 clubs, and 2 spades here. And the defense only has 6 tricks.
So what would have happened if we went 1 spade pass? So, because I would have actually passed the North End, I guess, showing my age. So now East, if they were white, I think they would certainly bid. But red, I think it would be normal to pass a spade. Is that right?
I would.
I would pass with you.
I would.
And then if I were South, I'd be very tempted to balance with 1 now.
Yeah, you have a very awkward bid because you have a pretty good hand. Normally you would of course need a little extra strength but it's really, you can't really double with a doubleton heart. So the options that are left to you are a pass or 1 a trump, and right. I think I'd be tempted to bid 1 a trump as well, I have to confess.
And certainly North would invite, and they would end up in 2 no. So here the aggressive double and the conservative 1 no kept them lower than what I would have gotten, what contract I would have gotten to playing with myself.
Mm-hmm. So they did well. The other table, it looks like they chose to pass. So they passed out 1 spade and are playing 1 spade as East-West.
Which is perfectly reasonable, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think actually at all red, I'm a passer. At any other colors, I would probably bid a no trump. But the advantage of passing at all red is that, some of the time they're going, down 2, down 3, and I'm collecting 100 a trick. And some of the time, if I bid a no trump and I'm wrong, I'm going down 2 or down 3 and giving 100 a trick. And so, I would probably err on the side of, especially at imps where, these decisions are perhaps a little bit, it's a little bit less threading the needle of are they, down 1 or down 2. I would be pretty happy defending a spade when partner couldn't really act and probably, has at least somewhat short spades, right?
I think what I'm afraid of is if one spade goes down 2 or down 3, which is normally the case if partner has some values but length in spades, that we are actually making game. Those are the hands you're scared of missing a vulnerable game on. But
yes.
That would be my exact fear, because I love, even if I have a bad hand, if I balance with 1 no and partner bids 3 no, I'm happy. I feel like, all right, I'm playing a vulnerable game here. This is kind of cool. I know where all the cards are.
Yeah, exactly. Steve, you cut out there for a sec, but hopefully your internet will come back to life.
Still happy that it happened.
Mm-hmm. So here, interestingly, I guess this 2-0 maybe includes some of the 3-card limit raises. I guess it must, but...
Yeah, I think, is that more popular in Europe than it is in the U.S.? Because in the U.S. it's usually 4, I think.
I think
in Europe it's very popular to play exactly 3-card limit raise, isn't it?
I was gonna say if so, then maybe 2-0 is just always a limit raise and not limit or better.
Mm-hmm. And 3 clubs or something similar is
2 clubs.
2, yeah. Right, so you force all of the 4-card limit, or you 4-card, or all of the game forcing raises.
Everything.
Everything just bids 2 clubs.
And East has a full opener with 5-4-2 and no terrible cards, so they just decided opposite the limit raise. They're going to bid game, which is perfectly reasonable.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's pretty much on
the layout of the cards. It's going to work out okay for him, probably.
Mm-hmm. Right, if they get a diamond rough, then it's not a great game for sure. But otherwise,
it's an iffy white game that you're. Yeah, I think that you'd be somewhat ambivalent about being in it white, but it's certainly it's close.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, even in a standard method, right? It would go as, let's say, a spade, a no trump. You probably bid 2 diamonds because you're accepting a limit raise, right?
Right, and now West is probably going to just drive the game.
Yeah. So. Yeah, so I mean, this you'll wind up there one way or another, most likely, but it's a little aggressive looking at the 2 hands, perhaps, but just the way that the bidding times out, West finds out, hey, we have a double fit, like I have the ace of clubs, which is working. Yeah, just gonna bid.
Mm-hmm. So I guess the lead was a heart, and North won the ace.
Yeah, the jack of hearts led to the ace and a heart back.
I guess North thought perhaps partner had a stiff heart, which is possible for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't give up a working pitch. So now East is deciding whether they want to risk the diamond rough if the king of spades is onside by playing like the ace of spades and a club over. Now they might lose to the king of spades, ace of diamonds, diamond rough, or they could just play a club to the ace, and if the king of spades is onside, he played diamond.
Well,
interesting. I guess I don't particularly like this because some of the time the opponents forgot to get their diamond rough, and now I'm giving it.
I feel quite confident. But... I'm assuming he thought South cannot have a stiff diamond, and to return a heart in this on this lead, if you had a stiff diamond yourself, would also be. But it's still a bold move to just assume straight out that diamonds are 2-2.
It is a bold move. I guess he's trying to create 2 entries and was planning on playing a spade to the 8, and just took the instinct that diamonds were 2-2 and it was going to make the maximum play in spades. Otherwise, if he played a club to the ace, he was going to have to play a spade to the queen. So he backed his judgment that diamonds were 2-2 and to make the percentage play in the spade suit.
Mm-hmm. I'm a little surprised that having led a diamond, right, and gotten the ace out of the way, it feels like you might now win the club in hand, cash the ace of spades, lead a club to dummy, and play a spade, right, and try to guess the spade situation.
I mean, he's trying to cater for Jack 10 third.
I think he was trying to cater for Jack 10 third in North, which seems reasonable.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, Adam.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like if once you play a diamond, right, and they win and return a club, you can be pretty sure that if South had stiff ace of diamonds, they would have let it, and you can be pretty sure that if North had a small stiff diamond, they probably would have shifted to it. So, and even if North does have a small stiff diamond, there's actually not really a danger of that anymore, because if we win the king of clubs, cash the ace of spades, and play a club to dummy and to play a spade. Right, the hand with the king of spades, I guess the only time when it would potentially matter is when North had a stiff diamond, right?
Well, it matters when North has Jack 10 third of spades, right?
Yeah, yes, but I feel like King 10 or King Jack of spades in the South maybe is like if we cash the ace of spades and we see the Jack or 10 from South. Right. That feels pretty good.
Like, strictly speaking, king in a spot is as likely as King 10 and King Jack and stuff.
Yeah.
So up to guess.
Yeah, I think that you can take the inference that North doesn't have 4 spades, so you're probably not going to see the singleton Jack or 10, because I think it's unlikely North would have won the ace of hearts with 4 spades.
Mm-hmm.
And play partner for a stiff heart. I think Declare's line of play is imaginative, trusting the judgment of 2-2 diamonds, and planning on double finessing spades was gutsy and well thought out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As we can see on the lie of the cards, it didn't matter. You could have just banged the ace of spades or played a spade to the queen. You could have done a lot of things, and you were going to make 4 spades, but I have a lot of respect for the line of play there.
Mm-hmm. Right, it's very different at the table when you don't get to see all of the cards, and some of the layouts are actually very important. So, especially in a close match like this. So it looks like one spade on board 20 went down 1. So this was a push 90 into 100.
What's the so we have still a very close match.
Yes, 9 ips.
Just how we like it.
Just how we like.
Exactly.
Do we have a rooting interest? I guess we do, right? Well, our team of commentators has an interest. So unless there's a contra interest, then I'm going to root for our team.
I have a lot of friends on both teams, and so I would say I will be a little bit happy and a little bit sad regardless of the outcome.
That's fair enough. And actually, I'm just rooting for it to come down to the last board, honestly. So.
Well, speaking of that, by the way, Singapore has come back 24-5 this set against Poland, so they're actually leading Poland by an imp now.
Wow!
With only 6 boards to play over there, so a lot of action in both matches today.
Singapore was the team that was chosen by USA 1.
Yes.
And
twice in a row.
Twice in a row.
It's true, twice in a row. We chose them back in 2018 as well, and learned that was a mistake. They beat us by 2 in the quarterfinal there, and then we had not yet learned our lesson. Chose Singapore again in this tournament, and then they beat the U.S. team yesterday. They played very well, and I'd say earned their win, and. Seem to be continuing that against Poland today. So
that's
it certainly had a good performance in knockout matches in the juniors.
Yes. They have a habit of just squeaking in the round robin, and then sort of surging back in the
feigning weakness. Yeah.
Yes.
You got to be scared of those.
Did anyone of you speak to the U.S. players? Why they chose the Singapore team? Did they win big against them in the round robin, or was there?
They beat them 40-20 in the round robin. I haven't had a chance to ask them sort of more detailed thought on that. I would imagine they probably had a lot of discussion and maybe even a little bit of PTSD because they're both Kevin and Zach were on that team. With myself and Kristen Jolly and Oren Kriegel and Ben Christensen. So, I guess Ben is also was on the U21 or U26 team here. So, yes. And Peter rightfully points out in chat, the 2018 semifinal was also Singapore versus Poland. This is Singapore's chance at revenge.
I played Singapore in the Open World Championships, and there's some really strong. There was one kid, I don't remember his name, but his card play was outstanding. I don't know if he's still a junior or not, but really, I thought a phenomenal card player.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's a completely different team to 2018, isn't it, Adam?
I believe so. Peter can probably in the chat can tell us a little bit more because he was on the team that we played in 2018. So he of course is aged out, but I don't. Are there any? Yes. So he says yes. The youth team is different now, but most of the Singapore team here, I believe, also is the open team for Singapore now. So
wow, that's kind of scary to choose.
That's very impressive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and Oren and me here, who are North South, are on the Israeli Open team now, as well. So, a decent bit of overlap there these days, which is cool.
Yeah, that's tremendous for like these countries' future in the World Championships and stuff. All right, so let's look at this hand. I don't know what East-West no-trump range is, but notice that West didn't upgrade. I'm guessing that they played 14 plus to 17 and third seed vulnerable, which is very un-junior-like to not upgrade. And I assume one diamond was a transfer to hearts. South bid a natural 2 diamonds, support double. North tried to make an annoying 3 diamond bid, and West jumped to 4 hearts.
Mm-hmm. Well, for what it's worth, I'm not sure what we would be really upgrading about. We have a 4-3-3 hand with 2 jacks, and
I think we're upgrading on age.
Okay, sure. I mean, there's some people who've never seen a bad 14 in their lives, right?
It's not an upgrade. Like if you're actually evaluating the hand, it certainly isn't an upgrade. I mean, I've upgraded worse just when I'm in the mood to do it, obviously, as we all have. But the bridge bid, I think, is to not upgrade. I agree with that. The King Jack 10/4 of clubs is the only favorable thing.
I was going to say the 10 of clubs is the only card the junior might look at and say, this is an upgrade.
Yes.
Anything else is... So East was hoping...
13 cards.
I guess Ace was hoping that the partner wasn't going to have 2 diamond honors on this auction. So he's... but still, this is a pretty nice contract.
Not really, though, right? Because you're off the Ace of Hearts, the Ace King of Spades, if not a ruff. And so anytime spades are 4-2 and the Ace and King are split, they can get a ruff. And if not, you have to deal with, I guess you can draw trumps and play for the club finesse on, which looks to be your best shot to pitch 2 spades from your hand rather than pitching a club and hoping to only lose 2 spades. So with spades 3-3, I think Declare is going to end up taking the club finesse.
Well, the defense is just going to cash their 4 winners today, right?
Well, okay, so if they do that,
you could be concerned.
Right.
If has Queen 9-6.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, the 9 is a little scary because it looks a little surroundy here.
It does,
right? I don't know. Yeah, it's true. This 9, second, fourth here, does make it a little bit difficult to sort out whether it's the queen or king, right?
And South is in a weird way end played too, because when they play a diamond, they're giving them a dummy entry, while Declare has more information about the North-South hand because South's a passed hand. And if they play a club, that's really bad. And if they play the Ace of Spades, depending on what the partner's spade holding is, that could be bad. So South is not liking their position right now.
Right. Well, I mean, South has shown up with the Queen Jack of Diamonds, the Jack, and at least 1 spade honor, and they play a strong club, and South was favorable, and didn't open. So I think if unless they figure out to cash, I think Declarer
I think it's over,
has
yeah.
a reasonable shot to
The backward finesse the clubs and
Yeah.
or whatever it's called. So the safe diamond as an exit is not safe.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, if you know that South has
So when you shift second and fourth, you have to shift to the 9 here, and like if you have 10-9, do you still shift to the 9?
That's
yeah.
how I would play it. At least it's very strict on shifting in new suit.
Mm-hmm. So what does South thinks East spades are?
So they're either Queen 9/3 or King 9/3 most likely.
Right. So is there an argument to be made for North shifting to the King of Spades here to take partner off of this potential problem? Right. Because the only time when it really matters, right, is when Declarer has the Queen and partner has this difficult problem. If Declarer has the Ace of Spades, then if anything, I'm going to get in with the Queen of Clubs potentially to be able to fire another spade through.
I think the King of Spades would be a really good play and make things really easy for partner. I'm not sure if there's bad holdings for it, but
I mean, the obvious one that I can think of would be when partner has Queen 10 fourth of spades, let's say, right, or even just Queen 10 third, right, where they're now when you play the king, you sort of freeze the spade position from your partner's side. But look, if they have that, and in order for you to beat this, you're probably going to need. I guess you might push Declarer then into taking a club finesse the right way. Is the only thing,
True.
right?
Right.
Like if you play the King of Spades and Declarer wins Ace, but Declarers also themselves is a passed hand. Right?
But he can't really have the Ace of Clubs and the Ace of Spades. You know?
Right.
No.
Right. So
in that case,
like,
partner.
Yeah, this is actually South. He got it wrong. He played a diamond. So now let's see if East can count the points and decide that. And I think East can put South on the Ace of Spades and not the King Jack of Spades.
Yeah, with the King of Spades, would definitely play.
So with the Queen of Clubs and 5 diamonds, I think in precision they would open a diamond. So there's actually decent reason for Declarer to get this right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
now we are looking at all the cards. It's a lot easier for us to get right looking at all the cards, but Declarer might just have enough information to do it, and it'd be really well done.
Yeah. Well, I mean, certainly, I think he'll be giving it a good deal of thought, right? Knowing that South is a passed hand, and knowing that they started with at least these 8 points that we kind of can put them on, right? And perhaps it's also just absent any other information to work with, right? That may be, enough to swing it. And he knows that he needs to pitch. He knows that the spade suit is bad. So there's not even any question of maybe we could set up spades and pitch a club here, right?
And he also knows spades are 3-3. He probably knows diamonds are 5-4. So he could, in theory, win the diamond, find out who has the third trump, and if he knows clubs are 3-3, he's safe.
Yeah.
Where if they were 4-2, he would have to play for Queen and 1, I would guess.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, East has played every card carefully, and I mean, the way East is playing, I feel like they're going to get it right.
Right. I mean, he's certainly being thoughtful about choices here. We see, by the way, on board 21, it looks like the Dutch picked up 6 imps when the other table did not find their way to 4 spades. So they bid a spade 3 clubs, I guess, showing an unbalanced showing a limit raise of some sort.
The limit raise.
Yeah, and that got 3 spade sign off, and that was the end of it. So they didn't get to establish.
I'm really surprised that opposite of limit raise that East just signed off. That seems really conservative to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. But certainly, if you open aggressively, it would make sense to probably be accepting there. But
yeah, or at least make a try. I mean, I don't see not at least making a try. I personally would big game just because it might come down to the lead, and I don't want to tell him about my hand, but I don't see signing off. I would make some sort of try. Not the game is so good or anything. I just couldn't imagine.
It feels like you certainly owe it at least some attempt there. And
Now, maybe
there's an interesting question in chat about whether Norse 9 of diamonds at trick 1 has any suit preference implications. What do you all think on that?
I would think it did. Yeah.
I mean, for me, absolutely, it should.
Yeah. And if that's the case, then again, aha.
Oh, he did it! Wow.
Well, he hasn't done. He did it.
He's done.
Well,
Once he played the Jack of Clubs, he did it. As far as I was concerned.
Yes. Okay. so
done.
yes, very well done to
Great card
Run
reading.
for reading the position here, and he's even going to, I guess, go a step further and run the 10 of clubs, and I'm not quite sure. That seems unnecessary.
That seems, since he doesn't know if parts of 3-2 which way yet, that seems a little weird to me. That might be an operator error.
That might have been as well.
Although, did South play the 8 or 9 of clubs at trick 1 and he was trying to squash
Not
it?
on Blue Graph, but maybe on in real life. That's what I'm assuming.
Yes. That's
Yeah, but if that was the case, then they still would not have they'd have to draw the third trump, right? Because if South has
they'd need South to be.
He could sometimes have 6 diamonds.
Yeah,
it's unlikely. He passed.
Very unlikely.
Yeah, I just don't think that's very likely.
Yeah, but nonetheless,
Depending on View Graph getting the cards right, no matter what, bravo to East and
Yeah.
the Dutch player. And I got it right this time, the Dutch player.
You did.
So I'm improving.
You did.
So
I think technically he is German.
He's a lot of things. He's also partially American, actually.
I saw his U.S. passport.
Right, exactly. He does have a U.S. passport as well. So we can
trying to
when,
make it
when
even
he
harder
makes plays like that, we can claim him as our own. Yes. So
that was a really great 620 that I think maybe the 9 of diamonds, if it was suit preference, could have saved the Israeli team and made it so this didn't happen. And I think it should have been suit preference. I mean, Bobby and I play suit preference for sure at trick 1 more than anybody else. But even if you don't play suit preference, I feel like this should be a clear suit preference situation. Do you guys who don't play suit preference at trick 1? I know Asaf said you take it as suit preference, but in general,
I mean, the rule we have is that when there's no potential for tricks in the suit, we play suit preference. I think this one qualifies.
That seems like a reasonable rule.
Yeah.
How about you? Do you have a rule like that, or?
I mean, the fallback normally for me is count, but in this particular situation, I also agree that it should be suit preference. Like as I've said, there's no way we're cashing diamond tricks. Like the reason for playing count would be so partner knew whether or not we can have a cashing diamond trick, and that's not going to happen here. So for me, this would also be a suit preference situation.
Okay, so that, and Adam, do you have any? You don't have.
I don't have too many super regular partnerships, but I would, in most of my partnerships, I would say I think when there my default would be similar to Asaf's. When there's no future in the suit, then our default becomes suit preference, and so it seems pretty clear, especially on something like a queen lead where dummy has the ace king and a suit contract. There's really no future in this suit, and so given the opportunity to have her to show suit preference, it just feels like it should be.
I agree. Well, if anybody is listening that writes for the bulletin or writes for Bridge Winners, which certainly isn't me, I think that's a bulletin hand, and I think that's a great hand to be written up for defense and what Declare was able to infer and make the contract. I think that's really tremendous.
Yeah, I may actually write it up later on if I get a little bit of time, because it's an interesting hand from sort of both players' perspectives, sort of a kit style of
Yeah. So what do? I play the Jack of Spades. No, you don't do that. You play the 3 of clubs. Okay. So I didn't play the 3 of clubs, but you did play the 3 of clubs. Partner plays the 9. So what do you do? Okay, I'll play the 10. Nope, you don't play the 10. You play the king. I'm busting his chops because his articles are amazing. But it's so frustrating because every time I want to play a card, I didn't play it.
No.
Right.
So here, North open the precision short diamond. What would be your defensive methods against that?
It's a good question.
I actually play something that Adam taught me. When Adam and I played a pair event and we drove from my house in New Jersey to, I think, Providence, and he had me playing the 3 of a major was that major in diamonds along with some other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember that, Adam?
Yeah. No, I still play it with just about everybody. So I usually double is 13 to 15 balanced or some strong hand. 2-0 is natural. 2 of a major is natural. And 3 clubs is a good 3 diamond overcall, since they always have at least 4 and often 5 clubs for their 2 diamond opening. And then 3 diamonds is natural and a bit weaker. And 3 of a major is that major in diamonds, but not force it. And 4 diamonds is diamonds and a major force it. So you get sort of the 2 suitors out of the way, and you also have sort of a way to make a strong diamond overcall that's really, wanting to bid 3-0. And, with this actual hand, I would be a little tempted to upgrade it into 2-0 with good spots, a 5-card suit, and so on, rather than choosing to double. But
Don't you think opposite the pass hand it's a bit much?
I have a good 15. And,
you do.
Partners
seems so dangerous.
Partner's vulnerable when they passed. I also have decent diamonds, so I would be very tempted to do it. I'm not certain that I would, but even the hand today, right, over 2-0, partner will bid Stamen trying to get out somewhere. I'll bid 3 diamonds and we'll actually land in our 10-card fit.
I actually think over the 2-0 bid, 3 clubs probably shouldn't be Stamen, but we're probably getting a little detailed now. And I think it should be a relay of 3 diamonds, and it's either to get out in diamonds or to show a lot of other hands. But that's complicated. I put some Bobby and I have had some additions to years of my initial conversation, Adam.
Yes, I would imagine. I played the 3 club relay thing over when I overcall 2-0 over other preempts. But when they've opened 2 diamonds, either natural or one of these weird 3-suity things, right? It feels like there's a little bit less upside to that.
Well, I think it's because they have clubs in particular, so your partner, you rate to have a diamond fit. So you have diamonds, so that's why against 2 diamonds in particular. I agree against weak 2s also, but against.
I was gonna say I'm also used to playing against 2 major 2-0 overcall, but you probably would have to modify the version you play here, since, as you say, the opener has clubs instead of a major as their primary suit.
Right.
But you do want to have, if you overcall 2-0 trump, you want partner to have a way to get out in 3 diamonds for sure.
Definitely.
So here in 2 spades, the last ace of clubs in a rough,
and they can't really read what the 6 of clubs is, right? Because Declarer has been very careful to conceal the 5 and the 3.
But it doesn't really matter, because if they played a diamond, then they would lose a heart trick, and by playing a heart, they'll lose a club rough. But they're still going to get 6 tricks, I think.
I think they're getting all the roughs they're entitled to.
Well, they could have gotten one. Well, now it looks like they're going to.
Yeah, it looks like he's going for it.
He's probably going to go for it and go down 2, but the hardship didn't actually hurt, and it could help in this situation. Yeah,
in this situation, it was helpful.
And like Adam said, the 6 of clubs was impossible to read. It was actually the highest spot besides the 10 outstanding.
Yeah.
So there was 2 lower and 1 higher.
Right. Well, and Declarer kind of can anticipate that, when they return, the club that they return is going to be suit preference. And because they are looking at the ace of hearts, perhaps they wanted them to, return a heart into them. So they concealed their lower clubs. If they wanted them to return a diamond into them, they might have instead followed with the 3 and the 5, concealing the 7 and 8 of clubs, right?
Declarer may guess this because of the double of 2 diamonds, and if the king of hearts is believable, Wes has the queen of hearts, and depending on the range of the double of 2 diamonds, Declarer really does not want to take this spade finesse. He's feeling very uncomfortable taking it, but he knows if he doesn't take it, he's given up on making it also.
Yeah.
And especially if the double actually showed a balanced hand in the situation, East has at least two spades.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or I mean, they could have stiff king even, right? Maybe in a pinch.
Or even stiff king. Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah. And we see
one of these.
the Dutch picked up a well-deserved 11 when the other table played in 3 diamonds on the previous board. So that extends their lead to quite a bit here. At a rather crucial moment.
Yeah, I would say well-deserved, but not in the way we expected it to be well-deserved.
Yes. I will be back in just 10 seconds.
No, that's not allowed.
Okay.
All right, so Declare did take the finesse and is heading down 2, which was perfectly reasonable, even though he didn't want to do it. He did it because he wanted to make his contract. So the Netherlands have opened up a pretty useful lead here.
Yep.
Wow, we really miss Adam. Like we just went silent without him.
Yeah, he's the anchor of this broadcast.
This is clear. Like we need Adam. Also, we got to the end of the hand where it's irrelevant. So
he could make some juice of it.
Oh, here we have him.
Good. Okay, we're rescued.
Adam, we were noticing how much we missed you because we had nothing to talk about except for you and when you were gone. Yeah, Declare wanted to make it, even though they didn't feel good about it. So this is getting dangerously out of hand. Not done yet, but it's getting scary.
Yes. Sorry, I had muted myself for the Twitch stream, but not for you guys. Yes. There we go. But yeah, so the Israelis definitely need a bit of a comeback here in these last 5 boards. They're running out of time to recover, especially after having slipped 17 imps in the last 2 boards.
I guess they're not aware that they're losing on board 21, but for sure they know that board 22 is a very vulnerable board.
Yeah, I would say that's true.
Yeah, I mean, going minus 620 has to, you can be pretty sure that that's at least lose 11 or lose 10. Probably lose 10 is your.
And board 1, they picked up a swing, but it's not, they like their position, but they wouldn't be shocked if that board was a push. Mm-hmm. The hand that went down after cashing the ace king of spades and falling back on the diamond finesse.
So what do we think about this east hand? Are we passers, doublers, one knowers?
I'm a doubler.
With 4 hearts, I would double.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, diamonds be damned, sort of.
Yeah, I would double too, and I just think the ace king is enough, and at least I have a doubleton diamond. So Sal's going for him, which is good. And now here, when it goes to spade double redouble, I think that you should play your jumps or preemptive by West and believe them when they open in first or second seed. It maybe is different when they open in third seed. I'm not saying that West is worth a jump to 3 clubs because partner could certainly have an off-shade takeout double with shorter clubs, but the better, more effective way to play is to play jumps as preemptive in this auction. So if West thought they were 2 bids, they would definitely start with 2 hearts and then come back bidding 3 clubs. But they have a very bad hand.
This is an interesting choice.
It is.
Might be intended as scramble.
Perhaps, although I'm not convinced it should be. Right, because I actually think that a lot
when the redouble comes, I'm sure it will be.
Yeah, I don't think
2 clubs he might be. It should be 2 clubs probably with 5.
I'm guessing that he knew he was going to get doubled, and he's trying to show two suits to play, and that's why he, instead of redoubling here, I think he's going to bid two clubs, and partner should know he has two suits to play. Otherwise, he would have started out with two clubs, which is pretty clever.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
So Steve, when you play a jump to the 3 level as preemptive, would you use a 2-no bid to show like a constructive kind of bid in this situation?
I would use a Q bid. I mean, I would just normally assume, unless, look, I've been psyched against my precision pairs on the redouble, so that scares me, and we have some exceptions to it. But if you're playing against most people and they open in first or second seed and it goes double or redouble, I'm assuming we don't have a game. So the only strong bid for me would be a Q bid. So I really like the way Wes handled this hand to get two suits in play. If they just bid two clubs, they're never going to get hearts in play. So by bidding 1-no and then two clubs, they're saying to their partner, hey, I was always running. And since they didn't redouble 1-no, it's not a 3-suited run out, it's a 2-suited run out. So I think it was a very intelligent action.
Yeah.
Yeah, and North-South need to be on the same page that this double is takeout rather than penalty. It's a little convoluted because we've already made one penalty double.
It is a little bit confusing, yeah.
And truthfully, I would be a little worried with the North hand, because it feels like I might even be bringing hearts into the picture where I really don't want to.
Yeah, I'm hoping they know what this double is.
Seems like they were on the same page, or at least somewhat. And North probably doesn't want to quit over two spades, right? Considering they have a limited opening and partner showed, at least some values. I don't think they're done.
So you think they're going to try?
I think they're practically forced to game, honestly.
Right.
4 spades. Wow, interesting.
Well, the defense is going to have two chances.
This actually has some play, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
They have to arrange for a diamond ruff with the 10 doubleton in opposite singleton, right? They have to.
I mean,
they might lead a diamond trying to get a ruff and be surprised when partner is the one that ruffs the second.
I think he might lead a high trump here to take a look at dummy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Oren did manage to hide his 5 diamonds, which might turn out to be very successful.
Okay, here we have another potential suit preference situation, which I don't think would be suit preference in standard, but it would be suit preference for some pairs. And mine
would it be for you?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I think especially when you play the two, if you play low and partner then continues and you play low again, they might be wondering, what were you, why were you arguably encouraging in this spot, right? But maybe the attitude discouraging 8 of clubs, and then even if partner continues clubs, then we can play our lowest club. The 2 should scream diamonds.
Yeah.
On the other hand, you might know that partner doesn't have the ace of hearts, so maybe also partner is trying just to discourage you from coming back a heart. It's not 100% clear that you can see that partner has a stiff diamond, but you don't have a lot of else to hope for, I guess, unless the player is gonna not find the queen of diamonds.
This is a really big board for Israel's chances of winning because they're in 3 diamonds making it at the other table. So this is going to be a game swing their way, or they're going to lose a part score swing.
Yeah. No, if they don't make 4 spades here, I think we can probably, it seems likely that Israel would need a lot to really pull back. But if they get a game swing here, they're still certainly in it.
And to go back to whether it would be suit preference for me, the reason it would be suit preference in this situation is I bid clubs. So we don't like to lose our ruffs when partner might be leading ace from ace king. So we actually play standard in that situation. But here I've shown club length, and a ruff is not in the question. So when a ruff isn't in the question, we always default to suit preference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that seems like a good rule to have. And so East has been deliberate this set and has justified that with their play. So we'll see. They can see that partner is discouraging in clubs, so they don't have the king of clubs. And of course, the second club gets the 2, so they can see that they at least have a couple chances to perhaps get this right. Except that now they don't.
Now they don't.
Yeah. So
it's going to be a well-needed swing for Israel.
Yes. So they'll pick up 7 imps, I think.
I mean, Declarer doesn't know it, but spades are 3-3, so when he roughs the club, he's going to be able to safely play a trump. If spades were 4-2, then that would be a problem.
Yes, definitely. And thank you for your comments in chat. I appreciate it. And yes, everybody has been great, and it's been a very good couple days of bridge to watch, even when the USA teams were not prevailing. So we might have to be a little careful that anytime we have a rooting interest, it seems. They wind up down in the fourth quarter, so we might have to be a little careful with that.
Yeah, it's true. This creates the scariest moment for North, but I don't see anything other than either hoping clubs are 6-3 or hoping spades are 3-3, and that's what North did.
Yeah.
So East, who's gotten a lot of hands right, didn't get this hand right, but I'm not so sure it was easy to get right, or that his partner couldn't have helped him more, depending on their carding. But collectively, he's supposed to get this hand right.
Yes. It's a tough hand to card properly, because declarers concealed their 5-card diamonds too, right? So
and their 5-card spades suit in effect.
Right, exactly. Like it seems like if you had to guess declarer's shape, 5-1, 5-2. It
was an interesting jump to 4 spades. That seemed as almost if they felt their partner showed 3 spades.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And perhaps they did. Or, perhaps they did think that, and because otherwise, with Jack 9, 5th of spades, opposite a doubleton, you're not really rushing to have that suit be trumps. So Israel is still in the game, although they need at least a couple of swings to really.
Right. They kept it interesting anyway.
Yes, and the other match, Poland is now up by 1 with 2 boards to play against Singapore. It looks like, with 2 comparisons to come in. So very much a nail biter on that side as well. And I almost wish that we could switch over, but we've been following this match the whole time, and certainly with.
We have a rooting interest. We have
right, exactly. And we have rooting, yeah, exactly.
And they just rallied, so no, we can't do that.
They just rallied.
Exactly. Modern standard for this redouble, I think, is we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but it's more that it shows a doubleton and a desire to compete, rather than, let's say, a more old-fashioned Rosencrantz style, where it's the ace or king, or even just showing sort of values generally, right?
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I think it should be a doubleton spade and like 9+. I think Michael Rosenberg likes it to be a doubleton spade, but his range is a little bit lower, maybe even 7+. I'm not sure. And one thing that's important if you do play this redouble as a doubleton, however you play it, is what is the next double? Like for Bobby and I, the next double is takeout by either person, and I assume that's kind of European standard. But it's very important, because when you do redouble, it sounds like you're going after them. So if the next double is takeout, you better have it clearly defined.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and here we see one of the challenges of playing a strong club a little bit is that when you have minors, sometimes you can't sort out who has who has what length, right?
It looks like West is going for blood, because
this is plausible as a takeout double as well, right?
I mean, they did do 2 clubs though, North, right? So the one, I guess it could be 4 hearts and a doubleton spade.
Yeah,
it is possible.
Yeah, I mean,
depending on East's pass of 2 clubs, man, also.
Right. But I mean, East has to be, sort of
allowed to pass with nothing interesting.
Right. Like, I mean, Jack third of diamonds though. They've got to be wondering a little bit, like,
Yeah, I think if they had a
have
doubleton diamond or a singleton diamond, they'd be pretty sure it was penalties. But Jack third is like, which rule does this fit for us?
Right.
So in precision, for any precision players, does North, when they bid two clubs, I know normally when you open a diamond and bid two clubs, you're showing both minors. But in this situation, do you show both minors?
I think so, because I think I think you would pass if you just had clubs, but it's not entirely clear, because you can imagine a world where you pass and partner doesn't really have a way to scramble back to clubs,
right.
When you just had like 5 clubs and a doubleton diamond. So I think you have to sacrifice something.
Okay.
And I would err on the side.
It seems like the precision people certainly have it worked out. And I played precision a really long time ago, but I'm still confused by it. But I know they put a lot of time in on all this stuff and have it worked out. So anyway, they ended up, he did take it out. He took it as a takeout double, which is reasonable. And they got to a very strong 4-3 fit with trumps going 5-1.
Right. Well, they expected probably 4-2, but
4-2 was reasonable.
Yes, 5-1 maybe feels a little bit worse. And South, of course, knowing that their side has probably close to the balance of power, and they have all of these little trumps. They're the main thing they want to stop Declarer from doing is scoring all of their trumps separately.
Right.
And so they are able to get that trump onto the table. Hopefully, with they're hoping that they'll be able to lead trumps a couple more times even, to cut down on ruffs.
And the Declarer's got a lot they want to do. They'd like to lead up to the Queen of Spades. They want to get club ruffs. They want to lead up to the King of Diamonds. Although at some point the opponents are going to probably have to break diamonds for them, and they have very limited entries. And it looks like the defense got off to the right start.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting, the 5 of hearts, right? When you're leading from, I guess, equivalent or roughly equivalent trump spots, do you normally try to have some sort of suit preference implication there? Or
I think there should definitely be some suit preference implication. Now, that could be...
Oh, you froze, Steve. But
I mean, with equal ranking spot cards, it for sure should be suit preference. Otherwise, I'm always leading a low trump because I've had too many experiences with not leading my lowest and watching that.
It's been drilled to you.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it's either Michael Rosenberg or I think it was Michael who was telling me a story about where I think he had 6-3 of trump. And he chose to lead the 6, and it turned out that the 6 wound up being an incredibly important card later in the hand, and had he led the 3, it would have defeated the contract, and but the 6 gave it up, and since then he leads low trumps.
Well, the difference between the 5 and the 6 is also for poker players that play like triple draw or low ball. This would be called an 8 perfect, 2, 3, 4, 5. The best hand in triple draw is a 7 low, but not a straight, because straights and flushes count against you. So this is a great, not only low ball hand, but a great hand to give suit preference, because the 5, 4, 3 deuces are all equals.
Yeah,
it's a little extra poker in there. It's a very strong low ball hand. 8 perfect is very strong.
Yes, I don't think I've played much low ball actually. Maybe I'm missing out.
It's a great game. Yes. So, in a sense, it was an advantage that trumps were 5-1 for East because North couldn't win the club and play another trump.
Yeah, right, and had to break diamonds.
I really love 5-1 trumps, but in this case, it's going to allow you to get a ruff. So Declare is going to get 4 hearts and dummy. The ace of a ruff in clubs is 5. The king of diamonds is 6, and the ace of spades is 7. At least, that's where we start. And I think the defense can hold them to that.
Yeah, they have to be a little careful, but I think they can. There's a little bit of a worry that maybe North will find themselves on lead at some point with only diamonds and a spade to Declarer's hand if they're not careful. But
I mean, South can't having the 8 of hearts means that they can play a diamond because there's only one rough that could be done.
One
But
rough.
it certainly looks very natural to play another trump here.
yeah.
There's a comment in the commentary, Steve, from Hero Boy 1976. Steve, your co-commentators are too young for Raz, deuce to 7, etc.
Well, Raz, everybody's too young for it. You have to be like Norman Chad or like 95 years old. So I'm too young for Raz too, even though I play it.
What is Raz? Can you explain it to me?
Raz is pure low ball, and it's actually the most agonizing game in the history of poker. Like you have to heat yourself and heat human life to play the game. So unless you're 90 or above, you don't play Raz. But
You're
triple
really
draw,
selling it, by the way.
yeah,
I know.
I'm getting your book.
But triple draw and low ball and stuff like that. Triple draw in particular, there's no limit single draw and triple draw, and you can either play it with limits or no limits, is actually one of the best poker games I've ever invented. And if you do play poker and you are young, you should learn it because people aren't very good at it, and it's becoming very popular, and it's a phenomenal game.
So somebody else is asking, is poker a reasonable side hustle for a bridge pro? Let me mute myself.
It is, but don't take it lightly because people are really good at it. And whenever you can make a bunch of money by being good at something young, people work really hard. So it's a great side hustle if you take it seriously and you have natural abilities and you work really hard. But don't just assume because you're a good bridge player, you'll be good at poker, because that is not true.
Right. The skills don't fully transfer 1-to-1 in either direction, right? There's plenty of talented poker players who are rather poor bridge players and vice versa.
So this wasn't the way we thought. Another trump was played. Declare played another club. North won, and they're back on play. Now they can't. Now it's a little bit. Uh-oh.
That will do it, right? Because now Declare... I guess Declare has to...
He has some transportation issues now.
Right, there's transportation issues still. But South is going to start being on lead an awful lot here, which is not great for them, right? Like, imagine he plays a club and roughs and then plays the jack of diamonds, right? I guess...
Then you rough and play a heart, I guess.
Right. But if
now you're in a pretty good
position.
If
North doesn't cover the club, then you just pitch, right? The 9 of clubs has already come out.
And then you can play a heart, and I think you're good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
Seems like they're going to survive it.
Yeah, it might still be like it declares really, really close here, but
I feel like I'm not so sure they're going to survive this.
What about a club? A club and they duck, we rough, and play a low spade, right? And now South can win the king, but the best they can do is return a trump. But we can unblock the queen of spades, and we have the jack of diamonds as an entry to our hand with the ace of spades. Right?
Which is, I think, why South was considering getting out with a diamond instead of a trump. Yeah. And the trump was the most natural play, and it could have worked. But I do think South realized that North might have some problems.
Yeah. Right. I mean, certainly this spot is, North didn't have a clear play here, but I guess they thought perhaps partner had 4 diamonds, in which case they can safely return a diamond and not risk bad things happening. But it is a tough spot. And to some of the questions in chat earlier about U21s, U26s, U21s, U16s, I think we are going to try to have them join, although we're still, it's a coordination issue that we're still working on a little bit. So it looks like Singapore came back handily, and in fact actually beat Poland by 17, which looks to be a final score. So Singapore will make the finals. Very well done, and congrats to them.
Second time in a row.
Second time in a row.
Yes.
That is really impressive. Doesn't Declare just have 8 tricks, by the way, here? They have 3 in. If they rough a club is 4. Oh, I see South pitched a diamond.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think if they pitch, South can play. I think if they pitch, South can play back a diamond and ruin the transportation.
If they pitch on the club, you mean?
Yeah.
Spades of the
Yes,
queen. No, but they're going to end up getting 2 spade tricks then. So if they rough a club and play a spade, and rough a club, South has to pitch a diamond. Otherwise, they have 8 tricks. Right. So they do pitch a diamond. Right. They play a low spade. South has to fly king, and they're going to
play a heart.
They're going to be forced to give Declare a second spade trick when they rough the last diamond.
So now they can draw the trump and play a diamond. No, I don't.
Yeah,
doesn't right. South had to pitch their.
South has a trump left, doesn't he?
But he's going to have. He's going to have 2 spades. He's either going to diamond was. I think. Play.
Okay, that's not a good play.
Oh, he needed to keep that as an entry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now this will be. I guess
the winning line.
He's playing north to have the king of spades, which. I guess feels like it's a bit much, given that North has already shown up with the ace king of clubs,
and the queen of diamonds. Yeah,
right. And it's likely that North has the queen of clubs, although certainly not a guarantee by any means.
I think you could infer North had 4 diamonds from the carding, so it makes North marked with 5 clubs.
Yeah, and so. This will finish down 1, and that will be another 4 imps to the Netherlands. Or sorry, to Israel. It's still a.
Especially if Singapore was able to pick up 17 on the last 2 boards.
Yes.
So I don't remember. Were you on the winning Swedish team last time?
I was lucky enough to beat Singapore in the last final.
Yeah. It was close though, wasn't it?
It was a close final.
Yes. I remember watching it, and it was definitely a rather exciting finish. So, but who is the rest of your team then? It was
Ola and Michael. I was playing with my brother, and it was Adam Stocker playing with
Holt.
Simon Holt, yeah.
Oh, nice. Yes.
That is a good team.
Yes.
That's like a good team for the Vanderbilt, the Spingle, the anything. Sending it out in the juniors feels unfair.
Yes. Right. And Ola and Michael were, I guess, 1 year. They're also 96, right? So
they're born in 95, just as myself.
Okay. So, right. So they were even slightly further beyond the cutoff than I was.
Exactly. Yeah, we were all planning on having another world championship in us, but COVID hit and life happened.
Right. Exactly.
But, so it looks like West made an invitational 3-heart bid, and it looks like kind of a boring game, which I assume will be flat. Yeah, I see at the other table there on forward. So this is not going to be a swing hand.
Yeah. North has a kind of a fun hand symmetry wise, but they gave him the 8 of diamonds, so he knows what to lead. As opposed to the 7 of clubs. Yeah. And so this Declare will win, draw trumps, and claim. It shouldn't take too much time, I would hope.
Yeah, I feel like this one won't take much.
Yes. So yeah, in the U21s, it looks like USA 2 won their last set handily and will be facing Denmark in the finals. Israel, unfortunately, lost there as well to Denmark. So we will have USA.
That's exciting. So who is that US team? Adam, do you know?
The USA 2 team there is.
It's in the finals?
Yes, let me bring that up real quick. So it's Michael Haas, Michael Hu, Sam Pak, Rory Zhao, Jonathan Hui, and Arthur Zhao. They've played quite a few U.S. team. Played for quite a few USA 1s and USA 2s under 21 in the past. Some of them have been playing almost 10 years, even.
I mean, I know I actually met a bunch of them in the Bay Area which had phenomenal Debbie and Michael Rosenberg, mostly. Well, Michael trained the juniors mostly, but I think Debbie was the driving force behind Civi, along with maybe Tracey and a bunch of other people. I don't know who else was involved, but I was out there, and a couple of those kids I actually went over hands with in between sessions, and they were just sponges. I mean, they're just amazing. So watch out, Sweden. We got some kids.
I'm well aware.
Yeah.
So how is I know they managed to win against the USA one yesterday.
Yes.
Is that like because it's very specific for the US that you both of first of all that you have two teams, but also you are forced to play each other in the knockouts quite early on, maybe even the quarterfinals.
So it's forced in the semifinals. The unfortunate quarterfinal matchup actually happened because they finished 4th and 5th, and so
I see.
they essentially they didn't really get to pick, and all of the other teams wound up getting picked, and so they were matched together for the quarterfinal. In the under 16s, the normal sort of protocol is that the U.S. teams have to play each other in the semifinals, and so we saw, we had a USA 1, USA 2 matchup today in the under 16s, and USA 2 prevailed there as well. So, they will be.
So that was my next question. Do you guys have any how does it feel when you're playing against your own country in these tournaments? Is it like, especially if you're USA 2, I imagine you have some revenge you want to from the trials?
Definitely. There's definitely like a little bit of revenge, a little bit of wanting to sort of prove that either you should have been USA 1 or at least that you wanting to sort of certainly beat your countrymen. I would say, yeah, definitely. I've mostly been on the USA 1 side of that and trying to hold off that. But it is still a little stressful and certainly doesn't feel good. It on some level it doesn't feel good, but on some level it's like, okay, this is kind of promising for the future when when the USA 2 team really does do well.
So Singapore and Poland, it's 102 tied.
Wow.
Wait, what? It was.
Yeah.
It was.
Maybe there was an error.
The score that I see suggests that Singapore won by 17 M's.
That's what I see as well.
Wait, okay, you're doing spoilers. I'm still here watching on BBO in another window.
Okay, sorry.
I am very sorry.
You're killing it, Adam.
I mean, I'm like a novice at this view graph thing, but that's
just bad form, dude. Okay,
I am sorry. I am sorry.
You just ruined it.
We learn.
Yes, exactly.
He's the fourth one to bid, but probably has the best hand at the table.
Yes.
Yeah. So on this North end, North doesn't have very many points, especially opposite of precision, but they have great distribution and they're not vulnerable and they want to get involved. I think most people play double as 4 or 5 spades here. It is a very typical understanding.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and certainly in a strong club style, I think it's very common.
I mean, I'm more old-fashioned where double 1 spade is 5 or more and double is 4, but I certainly see the merits of the 4 or 5, although when you get preempt, it gets a little complicated. Mm-hmm. When the opponents are bidding a lot, you really wish partner knew whether you had 4 or 5.
Right. Well, and here, I mean, with the East hand, you have a really, really strong hand, and it's just a question of you're certainly going to bid a game, and it's a question of what gets partner to evaluate their hand best for slam, I think.
Right.
And I don't particularly like 4 diamonds, to be quite honest, because it feels like partner, the stiff ace of diamonds isn't really what partner is going to expect here. And I really want partner to look at their club holding more so than their than
Would you play 4 clubs as a fit bid here or a splinter?
I would play it as a fit bid, but that opinion is
I recently started playing with a Scandinavian, so they insisted on splinters.
I wouldn't play splinters here, but even though we're very happy to play splinters in almost every situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And also, for a nebulous diamond, it's discussable whether or not 4 diamonds should be showing diamonds or a splinter, even.
Right, sure.
It seems their methods,
Yeah.
they are, it's showing a stiff or shortness.
Yes. So this even if Declarer wins the ace of clubs, fearing, let's say, clubs being the other way, right? They're gonna they'll have an awful lot of tricks here. The hand is friendly.
And it's also very unlikely that North has a stiff club on the bidding, I would say.
Yeah.
There's not like that many shapes, I guess. I mean, South doesn't really have a hard Boyden pass, so I guess like 5-2, 5-1 is possible. But
Yeah,
But then you're still
then,
making.
right. But even then, you're still making it if you duck the club. So it probably was reasonably safe to duck the club.
yeah.
Now we're just talking about over tricks, though. So this is not going to be a big swing.
Right. Well, and yeah. So it looks like he played the King of Hearts. So it was not playing for three of hearts as well. So there'll be one more imp to Israel, with one board to play, and the margin will be 99 to 115. So 16 imps. So we'll need a lot of help on the last board, but yeah.
What's the vulnerability on 28? We need some.
I think it's all red.
It's the good one. It's the good
All
one.
right, so like a slam making down does it.
Yes, a slam making it down does it. So
We could have a 17 imp swing.
we could.
So, Steve, what is the biggest comeback you came back in your career? Because I know I've seen some real doozies with you guys over the years.
That's a really good question. I don't know the answer. I know we've made a lot of comebacks and
I know.
some of them have been very
It's
big,
so exciting.
but I don't remember like what the big. Like I actually try not to even think of the exact number we're down when it's a lot. I just think of not giving them imps and seeing if generate some interesting positive equity.
So if we were wishing for a vulnerable slam board,
We have it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Wow.
This is it's a marginal slam.
But we need it to go down.
They might
Right.
bid to grand in the other room.
Right. Well, they might
Yeah.
bid to a grand. There's
Or
no.
to
It's
6.
also not clear what strain you want to play.
Diamonds, I
right?
think. Is the only one that
So
goes
we
down.
actually have a board that could swing the match.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Looks like it.
And I believe this board is what swung the Singapore-Poland match. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
So we have precedent on our side.
we do have precedent. We will see how this gets handled. I think it looks like 6 diamonds is probably the only slam to really struggle here. 6 no trump,
Yeah.
probably it won't feel great, but you're gonna 3 hearts will see you home.
I mean, after stiff jack of clubs, you're home. You're claiming.
Yes, that's true as well. So yeah, I've been assuming they can find their way to 6 no trump or.
Yeah, I don't know if North has shown which 5-card minor they have yet. I would imagine they have a way to do it. Maybe South can bid 3 clubs and ask here, or does 3 of a minor just establish trumps?
I don't know if they have.
I'm not sure.
Relay, but so for the Israel rooters in the room, unfortunately, we have a 6 no trump making in the other room. Certainly, fortunately.
So
for
the
anyone
competitive
rooting
aspect
for
of the match
Dutch.
is kind of over.
But yes, yeah. So the Dutch have a very good result in the other room to be making 6 no. So that means they will hold on to their lead, and so then they will face Singapore in the finals. So
Well, it was really a great match, and it was very well played.
yes, absolutely.
I mean, I shouldn't say the match. This segment was great, and there was a lot of really tremendous plays. Very strong teams, it seems like.
Yes, absolutely.
There were a couple like small little nuances that maybe could be worked out and stuff, but very strong overall play.
Yes. No, they did very well to like both of the sets that we've watched have been very solid.
High standard.
And, yeah, exactly. It's been nice to see.
Yeah, it should be a tremendous final, and I'll try to even watch some of it. Maybe it starts tomorrow. You're covering it tomorrow.
I will be. It will be starting at 8:40 in the morning, Eastern time, and we will be continuing for the whole final. Hopefully, we'll try to cover the U16 final, since it'll be the final set of that, since they're only playing 3 sets apiece. And then we'll switch over to probably either the U21 or U26 final.
That sounds great. That sounds like
so.
And tomorrow's the last day.
It is. Would you? I'm going to put you on the spot on stream, but if you would like to join, you are certainly we can welcome to reprise your appearance. And
I mean, I guess either you're being nice, or I wasn't a total disaster, or didn't insult too many people.
Exactly.
Except for Raz players,
Raz players will get over it. I think they're from the sound of it, they're old enough and miserable enough as it is.
All right. Well, we know the result of this match, and besides, I've certainly done a lot of talking. But if anybody in Twitch has any questions for anybody of us up here, I think that now is a good time to ask, and we can watch how they bid. But the result is over. The Netherlands are going to win this match.
Yes.
Fire away to any questions, and I'm happy to answer it. I assume you guys are too, if there's anything.
Yes. So feel free to fire some questions. And Tracey, were you able to reach some of the U16, U21s?
I know that we've asked them. Joe is in contact with them and told them that we're just finishing up here. So hopefully they're coming in.
Okay.
Joe just texted me that he let Kent know that we're just finishing up, because we wanted you guys to be able to commentate. So we have a question from the audience. What do you think of Suction versus a strong club? Lots of strong opinions on both sides in Seattle.
So
Seattle.
Yeah. How about all 3 of our guest commentators?
Yes, go for it.
I've had a bad time playing it. I prefer natural, like 2 diamonds multi.
I have to start with asking what Suction is. Is it 2 lever overcalls as either the suit?
I was going to ask that question too.
It's usually overcall is either the next higher suit or the other 2.
Okay. I have no experience
from the 1 level.
I played a version of it against Polish club, but then showing the suit I bid or the next 2 suits, which put a lot of pressure on everyone at the table. But we ended up having that as being more working to our disadvantage than the opponents. So I stopped doing that as well. I haven't played precision myself that much either, but for me, it doesn't sound like I would be so scared playing against this method, since I get double chances to bid over it.
Yeah, I really agree with that.
I basically agree with that. I got asked a very similar question. I had to ask what Suction was at the time. One of the pairs on the under 31 team is Ben Kampa, is part of one of the pairs, and I'm very close with him. And he and his partner were considering playing Suction against No Trump, and they've explained to me what Suction was then too. And their reasoning for it was that people that play a big club are very familiar playing against it, which I agree, and it probably doesn't take much away from them, and you guys lose some of the ability to preempt and stuff, where people playing No Trump aren't so used to playing against it, in particular because I believe they said it was illegal in the United States to play Suction against No Trump, which I'm not sure if it's true, but I've never known Ben to be wrong, so I'm going to assume it's true.
I don't think that's the case, although there's lots of weird, surprising things that are illegal.
Have you ever known Ben to be wrong, though?
Not okay. Chat says it used to be illegal, but not anymore.
Okay.
So maybe yes, actually.
so maybe Ben said that to me, and I repeated the story wrong, because he's never wrong. Let's just go with that.
Okay, we'll work with that.
So I personally didn't love it, because I feel like you lost something knowing what your suits are and being able to jump around and stuff. but there is certainly advantages when your opponents are in unfamiliar territory. So my guess is against a big club, it's not good, and against a no trump, it has some advantages that it doesn't have against a big club, and some disadvantages.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think I often play a sort of a style where two clubs is minor suit multi and two hearts is major suit multi when we're white. And I think there's a lot to be said for these sorts of high pressure bids that can be passed, a bit like what Ida was talking about, where you have the suit that you bid or the next two higher. So I think that if you are going to play something like this, you want to make it so that the bid can be passed, so that you don't give them two bites at the apple. But if even with that, though, it is a little bit harder to to preempt and to sort of follow through on taking advantage of these two suited overcalls in the first place. And so for suction at least, I'm not a huge fan these days. I think often just bidding naturally or having a few basic two suiters is enough to allow you to interfere a lot when you're not vulnerable against a strong club. And just right, psychosuction is perhaps better. And that's psychosuction is where you have the suit that you bid or the next two higher.
It just makes me think you play with Greg Humphreys too much. That's all I hear. Psychosuction. That's kind of picturing you and Greg eating his mayonnaise and you guys going over this. I can't deal with that anymore. We have to move on to 6. 6
I'm
knows
not sure
that.
we
Thanks
helped
for that
settling the battle in Seattle, but
Yeah, exactly. Sorry. Sleepless in Seattle. I don't think we settled it. 6 knows actually an interest. They well bid to what is a very good contract, and you have an interesting play situation because you could try to take 4 clubs, 4 diamonds, 2 spades, and 2 hearts, or you could try to go after a hearts. If you play the ace of clubs and an honor falls, you have a claim by going after clubs. If it doesn't fall, if you play the ace of hearts, you don't have a claim, but the heart was led. Here, I think Declare is probably going to play a high club. They have plenty of entries, and when they see the jack, they have 12 top tricks. Because I don't think there's any reason to play the high heart before 1 high club. So it's a good play problem that I expect Declare to get correct.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's sort of, and there's no need to commit to clubs or hearts just yet. I guess there's maybe a small advantage to going after clubs, especially when they lead a heart. That maybe suggests that hearts are 4-2 and not.
Yeah, the 8 of hearts certainly looks like there might be Queen Jack 4 of the hearts offside. Yeah,
it's reasonably ominous to where you might look to go after clubs rather than hearts. And of course you don't really have the luxury of being able to duck the heart and test what's going on, because you just at that point you may wind up losing 2 tricks trying to get to your 12, right?
Right. And interestingly, this is not going to be restricted choice in clubs, because you can't pick up the club suit for all the tricks if it's stiff jack of clubs. So you're going to, when you play the ace of clubs and the jack comes down, you're not going to finesse, because that doesn't help you.
Exactly. Yes. So Declare will presumably come to the same 12 tricks, and that will be a push and a hard-fought match that the Netherlands will prevail in. So,
let's see how they played it in the other room. Can we take a look? I guess I can.
We can actually. There we go. So, in the other room, they received a diamond lead, which they ran to the 9 and played a heart to the 9 at trick.
Wow, that's a big play.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. It is. I can't say that I really like it all that much.
Instinctively, I don't like it, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm going to think about it more rather than just go with my instincts, or I don't like it. But maybe it's not so bad. So he's going to pick up honor and a heart on side. Hearts 3-3.
It's the one. It's
Queen Jack
the
4th on side.
Queen Jack.
Right, it's Queen Jack fourth versus Queen fourth or Jack fourth, right?
And you lose the
Okay.
club chances.
Yeah.
So he did.
So-
This declarer did play the ace of clubs with trick too, which instinctively I like better.
Yeah, well,
Now-
I think it can't really cost, right? It can only gain, and
Right.
and today the layout is such where it actually does matter, right?
And notice South for the Israeli team didn't do the restricted choice. They were all trained knowing that it wouldn't help him, and now he's going to claim 12 tricks
Yes.
for a very nice result, but sadly not enough
Exactly.
for the Israeli supporters anyway.
Right, exactly, and thankfully not enough for the Dutch supporters.
Right.
So Tracey, have we had any success there, or should we go ahead and call it, and maybe we'll see about doing something later on?
Yes. I mean, Alex is in our chat on Twitch, so Alex Kolesnik, and Ken was going to be coming, and Joe has not been able to contact him over the last 10 minutes. So
Okay. Yeah, I think they may. I think they because I got a message from Avery saying that I think they were going to a team dinner. So I think that they are rightfully celebrating making the final, and so we won't interrupt that with this, but hopefully we'll be able to catch them at least a bit tomorrow, and be able to speak with them, and bring you guys something live from the site as well. So yeah, congratulations.
So
to
Adam,
the Dutch
before we
as well.
close out, do you just want to bring up the scores and just kind of recap who are going to be in the finals tomorrow from all of the different divisions?
Yes, that is a good idea, as usual. So let me switch over to this view. And so we have Singapore, Poland. Singapore prevailed. And so Singapore will play the winner of the match we just watched, which is the Dutch, the Netherlands. And then in the U21s, USA 2 beat China handily, so they will be playing Denmark, which actually has your regular partner on the team, Asaf. Christian Larman is part of the Danish under-21 team, so that should be a good
So you have a real rooting interest now.
Yeah. So Adam, do we have somebody from Denmark joining us tomorrow?
I'm going to see what I can do about that.
Yeah, let's put a couple feelers out.
Yes. I'm going to see what I can do about that.
Go out on a limb and say that this must be the first time in a long time that the Denmark is in the final of a World Championships.
I think so, actually. At least since
they were like a buildy team.
2008.
Yeah.
Could you back to the under 26 for 1 second?
Sure.
Because the thing that I think is interesting is we were talking about the USA picking Singapore and stuff. But if you look at, I don't know who the other choices of the people that lost yesterday, but Poland, there's nothing worse than a Polish declarer just running a long suit against you. So usually you don't pick Poland. It's just they just run and they're in 3-0 Trump and they're running tricks, and you and your partner are like, what do we pitch? So that's no fun.
No, they couldn't pick Poland, I think.
Okay, so I don't even know. I just know that when they're 5 years old, they're taught to run their long suit. So that's trouble. The Netherlands are always well trained and very good, and as we could see, an excellent team. This Israel team seemed like it was an excellent team. So the USA won for winning the round robin. From at least looking at these 4 teams, there weren't a lot of good choices. I mean, looks like
they could pick Greece and Italy, I think.
Right, Greece and Italy were the other two, and Italy has Donati on the team, and Greece had some pretty strong results, I think, in both the round robin and the pair game before. So
that's pretty impressive that there wasn't like a clear. Normally, you win a round, even in the Bermuda Bowl, if you win the round robin, there's usually a pretty clear choice. But here in the juniors, under 26, from a team in the USA 1 team is one of the strongest teams. I mean, multiple North American champions with great players on it. Didn't have an easy pick in the juniors, which shows some real great strength in junior bridge. Really impressive.
It's a strong field. And here we see in the under 26 women's, Poland and France will be playing each other for the final.
You guys, I'm going to ask Asaf, could you bop off and you can come back in, but we're going to bring up the kids team now.
Oh, no,
absolutely.
Actually, no, you're good. So I have a view for this, actually.
We can just
think
go to
I
all of
managed.
us, I guess, at this point, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think I'm gonna have to do a little resizing here on the spot, but
Or we could just probably just show everybody. Hi, guys.
yeah. So I'm gonna do a little bit of resizing. Hold on, sorry. Give me just a second. Let me pin this and have that there. And this. So we're gonna show everyone except for all of us. And we'll pin them large on the screen.
This is very impressive, Adam.
They are,
And then we
so
will
Aaron, they are
unmute.
muted. Yes.
Yep. Oh, they're there.
Hello. Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining. So
Our
congrats.
U21 team. Yeah. Do you want to introduce yourselves to the audience?
This is Michael Haas, Sam Pock, Rory Shao. I'm Aaron Silverstein. And the rest of the team is in various places. This is who I could get together.
Okay.
Well, hey, guys.
Other things.
This is Steve Weinstein, and I'm really excited for you, and great job, and keep it up.
Thank you.
It's very, very proud of all that you guys have done in the work, and really exciting, and enjoy yourself.
Thank you. Could not have done without Aaron. Aaron's been really helpful. Aaron's been great.
I didn't play a card. I didn't touch the wrong card.
Yeah, but Aaron, you usually don't touch a wrong card even when you play.
That is true. I did get reported for touching the wrong card, but we'll ignore that. It wasn't.
Yes. Yes.
They may have reported in the bulletin that a hand Avery played was mine. I played it.
Yeah, I wonder, was Avery playing Flannery after her email to me?
She's talking about it, but I told her she was not allowed to switch anything for the last month and a half before this tournament.
I always pictured you as a true disciplinarian. You really were running a tight ship there with her.
I wasn't, but I actually told them they had to learn stabilize their system before the World Championship, so they don't have any accidents, but they haven't practiced.
That seems really practical.
Yeah. They're doing really well too.
So, Aaron, can you give the phone to each one of the boys or each one of the team members that are there, and they can kind of introduce themselves and let us know where they're from, how long they've been playing bridge, who their partner is. Do you guys mind doing that for us?
Yeah, right. So, Michael,
we want to know who we're rooting for tomorrow.
All right. Yeah, I'm Michael Haas. I'm from right outside Philadelphia on the New Jersey side of the river. I'm playing with Sam Pock, who is right over here, and indeed, and I don't know. I also like playing chess, but I'm not as good at it as bridge.
Well, thank you. Good luck tomorrow.
When or how did you start playing, and how long?
My dad played in college. I probably started 6 or 7 years ago at this point. I couldn't tell you when exactly.
And are you I guess not? Are you in college yet, or?
No, I'm in high school. I'm going into my junior year.
Got it. Cool. So you're almost freshly ineligible for under 16s even.
Yeah, Sam and I were going to be on the last U16 team sent to Worlds, but then COVID happened, so that did not happen. So that ended up not occurring.
It really did not occur.
Nope, not happening. So now we're here. Yeah.
Good place to be.
Okay, so the next.
Sam. Hi, I'm Sam. I'm Sam Pock. I'm Michael Haas's partner. I live in Boston. I've been playing bridge for, I think, 5 years now. I've been his regular partner for basically that whole time. Our dads were friends in college, so my dad taught me and his dad taught me.
Wow, that's a great story. That's tremendous.
It's nice to have somebody who you know well and is already your best friend learn the same game as you and can be your regular friend. Very useful. It is very useful.
That's a really wonderful story.
That's fantastic.
We're up to you.
Oh, hi, I'm Rory. I'm 19. I'm from the Bay Area. And how I got started playing, it was my father as well. He was a big bridge guy in school, so he taught me. And then I guess I'm a product of Civi as well, as most of the Bay Area kids are. And here I am.
Nice. Where are you going to school now?
He has a brother on U26 USA too.
Yeah, my brother Brent is on the under 26 USA 2 team, but they did not do so well.
Family bragging rights.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
exactly. The last Zhao standing.
And Rory, I think I met you a number of years ago in Colorado. How old were you then?
I was definitely, well, I don't remember how old I was then, but it's probably been a few years.
So I remember going over hands and you guys ending up winning and stuff. And like you guys were like minus 800, minus 670, minus this, whatever. And you and your partner are like, okay, but we want to discuss this defense to 3 hearts where they made 140. I'm like, wow. And then didn't you have like a 60-something% game that evening? Or am I mistaken?
I don't know when was this? Maybe
this was a number of years
Steve's
ago.
memory is better than the juniors.
Yeah.
It was
a number of years ago.
Could have happened. I wonder if all great speakers have bad memory.
Yeah.
Is there anything you guys want to tell us about your match today against China? Because we didn't get to see you guys, which was a good thing, bad thing.
Yes.
Only redouble in its system. One of them was system. One of them was Sam.
I gave him a little bit of grief for redoubling fourth stage up 50, even though it made an overtrip.
It shouldn't have made it all, but
But it did make an overtrip.
Did they manage to bear it, or are they still?
They turned the club, so I didn't have entries because I have to pitch a club on the 5th diamond, so I have to time it so that I rough 2 hearts in hand and lead the left from dummy, and I didn't have the entries on the club. It was I did by the way put in the time to see how I could beer it.
By the way, one thing I will say about these guys is helping them. The best thing is that all of them, including the ones who are not here, if you tell them they did something wrong, if they don't understand it, they won't argue with you in an adversarial way, but they will try to understand. They don't care about the ego of what they do must be right. They actually will listen, which is the reason they get better quickly.
Yep, that's how you improve.
They
don't have to be right.
Just stay that way, and the world is that's really tremendous and very hard to do when you're so young. Very hard to do when you're older too.
So Aaron, tomorrow when you guys finish up, we would love to interview you just like normal sports events. So when you guys finish up, we'll send you over the Zoom link. If you guys can pop in and just say hello to all of us back in the United States, that would be awesome.
Sorry,
we wish you guys
resizing adventure here.
Yeah. We wish you guys the best of luck. The other thing, Aaron, if that interesting hand, the audio is a little tough coming in. If you guys want to write it up and send it over to me, I will post it either on the USBF's Facebook page if we get access to that, or I'll put it up on my Tracey's Bridge News and kind of share it with everybody. So.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
I have your email, but thank you. We're going to go.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you soon.
All right, good luck tomorrow. Have a good time tonight.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Well done.
Thanks for coming by. And awesome. So that will be it's a good way to close things off for today, and maybe we can grab a couple of the U16s tomorrow. So big congrats to USA 2 there on making the finals and having a great showing this week. And thank you everybody who has stuck around. And yes, and actually Michael's dad, June, has been in the chat. Hanging out, watching us here. So, yeah, shout out to him, and yeah, thanks everybody, especially Asaf, Ida, Steve, Tracey. It's been great having you, and we will be back again bright and early tomorrow morning at 8:40 a.m. Eastern.
You mean 5 in the morning?
For you, yes. 8:40 a.m. Eastern time. Will be the start point for us for the finals. So,
yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. It was a pleasure working with you.
Yeah, and Steve, we would love to have you tomorrow if you're available. So you have amazing.
I'll negotiate with Kaplan.
Yes, exactly. There'll be a text negotiation. I might owe him a dinner or something.
Yeah.
Which honestly is a pretty good deal for me. So
thank you, Ida, and thank you, Asaf, for coming in for both the matches today and
Thank
staying
you.
around. And yeah, it was definitely nice to have the Israeli insider insights. So sorry for the loss, though.
Thanks, everyone, and best of luck to all the teams tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's going to be an exciting finish.
It's
Yeah.
exciting.
And are you
Thank
guys
you,
all
Tracey.
playing in Morocco?
I'm
not.
Not. Okay.
Ida, you
So-
are?
I will be playing, yes.
Okay.
In the Men's Cup.
Yeah, and good luck in that. And then I guess we'll probably see you in Atlanta.
Yes.
So.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and stop the stream, and
Yeah.
we will see you all tomorrow.
Okay, great.